If you've ever lost track of time watching YouTube videos, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. And welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. We are at Hump Day here for the last full week ahead of the Christmas break. We've got some news going on, more stuff going on with Warner Brothers, Paramount, and Netflix. We'll take a look at all of that stuff here today. We've got some news to roll through. We've got Tim Melvin here today. We should have a nice fun day lined up here for you. We got green arrows in the market here this morning. We'll see if those hold up. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Wednesday edition for December 17th, 2025, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all had a wonderful rest of your Tuesday evening. And it's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here this morning. Hope that your Wednesday thus far is going all right. Today, EKS is first. Good morning, EKS. Thanks for joining us again. And as mentioned here, silver at a new all-time high. So I know several of you folks have been kind of trading some of the metals, silver included, and it looks like a new all-time high here today. This on the back of a Tesla all-time high yesterday. By the way, that Tesla all-time high, pretty crazy. Look at this graphic. Elon Musk's net worth is more than Bezos, Zuckerberg, and Buffett combined. Crazy stuff. So a lot of stuff here to look at today. Probably find something to trade here today. Can't wait to see what y'all folks are looking at. Let's go ahead and welcome everybody to the show. EKS is first. Peter, hello. Welcome back. Richard Judge, good morning. Welcome back. Brian, good morning. Welcome back. EKS reminding us here, Warner Brothers board calls the Paramount bid inadequate and inferior to the Netflix offer. I do have some thoughts on this and how it could actually play into a trade here today. So we'll go ahead and talk about Netflix in a little bit. I don't necessarily have a news story to run down because the news is kind of in flux right now, but that won't stop us from looking at the chart and giving us our thoughts or giving you my thoughts on the whole deal and whether Netflix is tradable. And I would love to hear what the trade plan is from folks in the group, frankly. Robert, good morning. Welcome back. Zach McCracken, good morning. Missed the lesson yesterday. Back at it today. That's okay. As I've mentioned a number of times, I don't take attendance. Real life and family always come first. I know we're all market addicts, as they say. It is what it is, but real life always comes first. No problem. We'll keep the seat warm for you, Zach. Good morning and welcome back. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Welcome back. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Whis, good morning. It's good to see you again, boss. Yes, that girl, good morning. Sun-Kissed Yogi, good morning. Kayla, good morning. The producer's locked in, as he always is. Big Dave's ready to go. Good morning. Kevin, good morning. Sean, good morning. Thanks again, Sean, for all of your support and benevolence to us and our team here. It's really appreciated. We love this job. We're going to keep doing this job as long as they let us do this job. But getting feedback from the group like you gave yesterday and like the group really gives here every day, it does keep us moving here. We really appreciate that, boss. Neville, good morning. Welcome back. Tyler, good morning. Rooster, good morning. Day Trader, good morning. Dan Nick, good morning. Brandy, good morning. H&H Tactical, good morning. Richard Judge, good morning. Bernhard, good morning. Zoran, good morning. And Work Life, good morning. Cam, it's good to see you again. Marionetta, I went on a treasure hunt and I found Benzinga. What an awesome comment. I will take that. You know what? Don't I have a sound for that? That's the treasure chest being opened. Good morning, Marionetta, and welcome. Reaching Financial Freedom, good morning. Welcome back. Scarlett, good morning. Welcome back. Cam, it's good to see you as always. Likewise for Buffalo by Bicycle. Good morning. Ed saying, good morning. Can we look at Restoration Hardware? Yes, as a matter of fact, we can. That is not a ticker that we look at often. That's ticker RH. I will go ahead and add that to the list here, Ed. We'll probably get to that closer to the movers section, I would imagine. Jay Harris, good morning. Born to be Free, good morning. Just Passing Through, good morning. Durkis and G-Cord, good morning. What else do we got here? Oscar, good morning. Big Hurt, good morning. What's going on, Brent? Brian, good morning. Crude is flying since last night. Yeah, we've got the stuff going on with the Venezuela being blockaded and all of that. That's actually causing oil to pop here today. Remember, oil's actually been down recently. Oil up by 1.81%, still in a 56 handle there for crude. See if that gives us any more trades. Actually, maybe, you know what? Let's add a couple more charts that we talked about yesterday in happy hour, XOP and XLE. I'll add those both to the list and we can talk about that. Where am I at here? PJ Trader, good morning. James, good morning. Live to trade and trade to live. Good morning. Johnny, good morning. Good to see you again. Creation, good morning. Good to see you again. Crankbait, good morning. Welcome back. And Robot to Trade, good morning and welcome back. All right, folks. Let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, futures in the green today ahead of Wednesday's open. S&P futures up 0.32%, Dow futures up 0.23%, and the NASDAQ futures lead the way higher at 0.42%. Also worth noting here, we do get CPI for the EU, or for the UK, I should say. That comes today. We'll see if that has any impact on the market. But the other thing I want to draw your attention to, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, Medline. This is actually going to be the biggest IPO of 2025. And yes, it's a tad odd, I guess, that it's coming 2 weeks until the end of the year. But nonetheless, Medline will IPO here today. It was priced between 26 and 30. I believe that IPO price is going to be a little bit closer to 29, if I'm not mistaken. The ticker is MDLN. And as always, we don't know exactly what time it's going to begin trading here today, but that will be today. And it should probably be around the noon hour, if I had to guess. Let's take a look at some cues from last session here. Scroll down to it. On Tuesday, the information technology, consumer discretionary, and communication services sectors posted gains, while energy, healthcare, real estate, financials, industrials, consumer staples, utilities, and material sectors all declined. Actually, we had higher than average volume yesterday, too, for whatever that's worth. November's delayed and distorted jobs report, which was released on Tuesday, failed to provide clarity, widening the divide among Wall Street economists debating whether the rise to 4.6% unemployment signals a controlled cooling or the start of a, quote, hiring recession, end quote. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.16%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.5%. We have several stocks in focus here today, and the first one we're going to start with is Lennar, the home builder, which reported earnings yesterday. That was 3.78% lower after reporting mixed financial results for the fourth quarter after the market closed on Tuesday. It reported fourth quarter revenue of $9.37 billion, which beat the analyst estimate of $9.02 billion. Lennar down here this morning slightly in the pre-market. Looks like we're down at about 111 after closing at 117.5. Micron is the next stock on our list here today. Shares jumped 3.36% in the pre-market ahead of its earnings, which don't come till after the closing bell. Analysts are expecting earnings of $3.93 per share on revenue of $12.81 billion. Children's Place, ticker PLCE, that slumped 32.11% after posting worse than expected third quarter financial results. The company reported a quarterly loss of 18 cents per share compared with the analyst consensus estimate of 70 cents per share. Big time miss there. Children's Place closed at about 7:35 yesterday. It is at the lows and trading at 493 here in the pre-market. The overnight low was 462. It's really shown no strength to bounce yet. So I know sometimes when these stocks really pull back, there can be a trade on just kind of a dead cat bounce there, but we are not seeing signs of that yet. We'll see if that changes here. PLCE down 32+%. The next stock on our list here is going to be Paranovis Entertainment Technology. That's ticker PAVS. It declined 3.91% after it announced it will execute a 1-for-100 reverse split on its Class A ordinary shares effective at market open on Thursday. The last stock on our list here is Aditext. think I'm pronouncing that right. Anyway, ticker's ADTX. That surged 38.03% following the company's filing for a definitive proxy statement for special stockholder virtual meeting scheduled for January 30th of 2026. ADTX, it's about $1.96 here in the pre-market. That closed at $1.42 yesterday. All right, let's take a look at the SPY chart as was due. Got to cue it up here. I should have had it queued up already, but it's been a busy morning so far. Here's what the SPY chart looks like. Now, there's a couple of things to take away from this. And really, a lot is going to depend on where we close here today. So first of all, just looking at the daily chart here, we'll dive in a sec, but just looking at the daily chart here, we actually put in what felt like a bullish candle yesterday. Obviously, we were higher in the pre-market. Well, we traded up off the lows in the pre-market yesterday. Then right at the open, the market sold off, and it really did so until the afternoon. Really, the trend was down all morning into the afternoon. Once the afternoon hit, we actually traded back up, and we tried to close above 680. Now, we didn't get that close. 680 has been a key level for us before, so it's worth watching here today. We did close at 678.87. Now, the good part about this is that in that sell-off yesterday, we actually tested the 50-day moving average and the 20-day moving average. We did not actually trade beneath the 50. Judge, if you look at the candle here on the daily chart, just because of the way it looks like we touched it. We actually didn't. In fact, if we go inside here, oops, clicked on the wrong tab there, my bad. If we actually look inside here at the SPY, we can see that the low here yesterday was 675.01. The 50-day moving average is about a quarter, 25 cents or 30 cents higher than it was yesterday. So technically, yesterday, we didn't actually print the 50, but for all intents and purposes, we absolutely tested it. It held and the market bounced from there. The good news is on the way back up, we actually recaptured both of these moving averages. We recaptured the 50, where we stayed above the 50, and we recaptured the 20-day. Now, today here in the pre-market, this actually takes us above our trend line that we added yesterday. This was with the help of 13. I'm actually going to extend this a little bit. Let's go back inside and make sure I hit the spots that we needed to hit. Looks like it's a little bit messed up here. Let me go ahead and just correct it just to make sure that we hit those spots. There we go. Now it's drawn through all those peaks. So this morning, it looks like we're trying to break this trend line. Realistically, the close needs to be above this trend line here today. So we have an entire session to see if we can move back above that. The candle yesterday looks bullish, looks like a possible reversal candle. If we get any follow through here today, that should bode well for the rally into the end of the year and then the potential Santa Claus rally. Remember, I just want to highlight again on Anne Marie's segment, she talked about a seasonality dip right around December 12th through 15th. Today is the 17th. So it looks like that dip, at least so far, is getting bought. Can we continue and move back up to the highs? We shall see. Now let's take a look at some insights from analysts here. Jeremy Siegel anticipates a supportive shift in the economic landscape driven by a dovish Federal Reserve and a broadening stock market rally. He views the Fed's recent signals as the effective end of quantitative tightening, creating a liquidity backdrop that has historically been supportive for risk assets. Consequently, he expects the Fed funds rate to eventually settle in the low threes. Economically, Siegel characterizes the current environment as a no hire, no fire economy. While firms are not aggressively laying off workers, they are also reluctant to hire. His base case remains that the economy avoids a recession. Regarding equities, Siegel expects a market rotation where leadership moves beyond tech giants. He warns that the performance bar for AI megacap is now extraordinarily high and predicts that non-Magnificent Seven and non-tech sectors will begin to benefit from improving margins and lower rates. This is the rotation out of big cap tech that we talk about here on a regular basis, and we also try and capture. Ultimately, he views this normalizing yield curve as a healthy backdrop for equities. Now, really quick here for economic data, Fed's Governor Chris Waller will speak at 8:15. That's actually starting right now. New York Fed President John Williams will speak at 9:05, and Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic will speak at 12:30. All right, let's take a look at Apple here real quick, or at least the news here for Apple. Apple could soon package iPhone chips in India. Apple is deepening its India strategy as it looks to strengthen its supply chain amid ongoing trade and tariff pressures. It is holding preliminary talks with Indian chip makers to assemble and package components for the iPhone, a move that could elevate local vendors in the tech giant's supply chain. CG Semi, owned by Murugappa Group and currently building an outsourced semiconductor assembly and test facility in Sanland, Gujarat, has participated in these early discussions. This marks the first time Apple is considering assembling and packaging certain chips in India, and that is reported by the Economic Times today. If finalized, the deal would be a major milestone for India's growing semiconductor sector, which recently saw Intel sign a pact with Tata Electronics to explore local manufacturing and advanced packaging. Currently, iPhone display panels come from Samsung, LG, and BOE technology groups. CG Semi is investing 7,600 crore Indian rupees. I probably pronounced that wrong. Sorry about that. Let me find my spot here. Way to go. Oh my God, where did that go? Sorry. CG Semi is investing 7,600 crore Indian rupees into state-of-the-art OSAT facilities, G1 and G2, with central and state government support and partnerships with Renesas and Stars Microelectronics. The company aims to begin commercial production in 2026 in line with the India Semiconductor Mission. Apple stock has gained 10% year to date, and it continues to face stock pressure from tariffs and trade uncertainty tied to imports from China and India. But a leading Wall Street analyst sees India as a major strategic win. Wedbush analyst Dan Ives said a potential U.S.-India trade deal would significantly strengthen Apple's supply chain. Ives said India has emerged as a serious challenger to China's dominance in tech manufacturing, citing its deep engineering talent, growing supply chain infrastructure, and large technology workforce. Now, really quickly here, this has been something that we have kind of talked about leading up to this. Really, I feel like this has been a on and off discussion with Happy Hour, with the Happy Hour group, I should say, for a number of years at this point. We've always kind of talked about Apple diversifying its supply chain, moving it away from China. There were some that said that couldn't be done. It's a rough day for them here today, but here we are. And I would agree with Dan Ives in this case. This is a good thing. Diversifying that supply chain is indeed a good thing. It's nice to see that there's some progress being made on this. He called India one of the most closely watched trade negotiations for tech investors. That still remains true, despite not having a lot of headlines about it. According to Ives, Apple stands to benefit the most if a deal materializes, especially given its rapid shift of iPhone production and assembly to India. He said Apple has already moved more than 50% of iPhone production to India based on recent earnings call commentary, calling the pivot one of CEO Tim Cook's smartest decisions in recent months. Ives dismissed the idea of iPhone manufacturing moving to the United States despite pressure from the president, saying it's not economically viable. He estimated U.S. iPhones or U.S.-made iPhones could cost around $3,500 and said relocating production would take 5 to 10 years. They said the same thing about moving it from China to India, by the way. He added that Cook's role has increasingly blended business relationship or business leaderships with political navigation as Apple manages ongoing tariff negotiations, calling Cook's handling of the supply chain challenges a potential, quote, Hall of Fame moment for his legacy. Let me know if you think that's true. Do you think that this is a Hall of Fame moment for Tim Cook's legacy? There's actually been a lot of back and forth on Tim Cook and how he runs the company and all of that. Let me know if you think this was going to help get him into the quote unquote Hall of Fame. Really quickly, we might as well take a look at Apple's chart here. I wonder if Tenzin's out there. Tenzin, I'd love to get your opinion on where this goes. Oh, look at that. Apple looks like it's bouncing off of this trend line that we have that originates all the way back in 2023. In fact, January of 2023. So we recently moved above this trend line. It looks like we're back testing this trend line. We recently did lose the 20. We actually lost the 20-day moving average on Monday. Today, we actually set up for a recapture of that. So that level, that key level here, 277.11, if we're able to get above and close above that. Apple here higher in the pre-market. Looks like it's making a run at 275 to try and hold it right now. So we'll see if Apple is able to do that. Now, another stock that I had some news here. I wanted to take a look at is Accenture. Several of you, I know that this is a stock that Mark Petrino will sometimes talk about. Several of you recently have talked about this and or talked about trading this here. And actually, Accenture's at a pretty interesting spot on the chart. So you can see we actually did kind of come off this bottom. It actually looks like this put in a pretty substantial and sticky bottom here, about what, 238, 235 to 238. We've moved off of this sideways area. We crossed the 260 area that we had identified as a key level. We've broken above that, closed above that. Actually, looks like we made a little bit of a pullback towards it and held that. And now it looks like we're battling with the 200. So we've traded up to the 200 once. We were rejected. Now it looks like we're testing that again. Can Accenture, ticker ACN, get above 277.75 and then close above it? Maybe then we can kind of change the trend that we've had in this chart since the beginning of 2025 or February of 2025. So Accenture here, interesting spot for the chart. We'll see how this actually trades here today. Now, Accenture stock is down 22% this year heading into earnings. Can AI growth and new guidance calm investor fears? Remember, the Accenture earnings are tomorrow before market opens. So if you were to play this with options, you need to get those positions bought here today because this will report tomorrow morning. Now, Accenture heads into Thursday's earnings with its share price down roughly 22% this year as slowing contract momentum and macro uncertainty have overshadowed what management pitches as strong AI-enabled growth opportunities. For traders, the question is no longer whether Accenture can beat on earnings, but whether guidance and bookings can offset the impact of government austerity and competition from its cloud rivals. Wall Street is forecasting $372 per share on revenue of $18.53 billion, which is according to data from Benzinga Pro. The Dublin-based company has beaten consensus EPS in multiple recent quarters, yet the stock has often sold off because new bookings, a closely watched metric that reflects clients' willingness to commit to future spending, have been weak. The slowdown has stoked fears of weaker discretionary spending, potential U.S. federal contract cuts, and a rising competition from cloud hyperscalers. U.S. federal government businesses make up about 8% of Accenture's global revenue. Analysts will also dissect any guidance updates for fiscal 2026, particularly given previous management's commentary highlighting moderated revenue growth expectations of 2 to 5%. Accenture's pivot to AI has been a highlight, with generative AI bookings scaling rapidly from minimal levels to multi-billion-dollar run rate, but this still represents only a fraction of total bookings, leaving investors debating how soon this will meaningfully offset weaker traditional demand. I lost my spot again, sorry. Of the $80.6 billion in total new bookings for the year ended on August 31st, only 5.9 came from generative AI. The company is also undergoing an $865 million restructuring program to realign its workforce and operations for rising demand in digital and AI services. Accenture has ramped up its AI push, announcing on Tuesday it will acquire a majority stake in AI data center firm DLB Associates and form a new joint business group with Palantir, naming Accenture as Palantir's preferred global partner for large-scale enterprise AI deployments. Earlier this month, the company launched a multi-year partnership with Amazon-backed Anthropic to train about 30,000 professionals and struck a deal with OpenAI to roll out agentic AI systems in ChatGPT Enterprise across its consulting and operations workforce. Again, stock's been under pressure this year, and we'll see if we can actually get this to turn around. It does have really good growth ranking here, but the other rankings, not so great. Not so great. Take a break, Ryan, and drink some coffee. I'm done with coffee here for the morning. I've had a couple, but I do have my tea here. All right. Next stock here, Meta AI glasses update. Meta AI glasses learn to focus, listen, and DJ your life. Let me know if you think that's a positive there. Good morning, Mama Bear. It's good to see you again. Hopefully all is well in your neck of the woods. Hope all is going well. All right. Meta Platforms is accelerating its push into artificial intelligence-powered wearables, updating its smart glasses and adjusting broader hardware strategy to focus on smarter, more premium devices. Meta is rolling out its V21 software update for the Ray-Ban Meta and Oakley Meta AI glasses, adding features designed to improve everyday use. The additional features include clearer conversations in noisy places and a new Spotify technology SA-powered music experience. Let me ask you, is there anyone out there that uses any type of wearable, whether it's Meta or otherwise, and actually takes phone calls on it? One of the things that I've been, whenever I meet somebody that has the AI glasses, the first question I ask them is, what do you use it for and what's valuable to you? And a lot of people talk about pictures. A lot of people talk about recording. Not a whole lot of people talk about the actual phone capability. So I guess I'm curious from the group here, how good is it? Is it superior to earbuds? Is it the same as earbuds? Is it better somehow? What are some of the pitfalls with that? I would imagine it would work just very, very similarly to earbuds, but looks like they had a update here that makes it even better, especially for like noise cancellation. The update introduces conversation focus. I think that's a feature they might have copied from Apple, right? The AirPods detect if you are talking and then lower the volume. I think that's what that is. The update introduces conversation focus, now available through Meta's early access program in US and Canada, which amplifies the voice of the person you're speaking with while reducing background noise in settings like busy restaurants, trains, or live events. Really, the question here is, does it work as well as the conversation? What do they call it here? Conversation focus. I think Apple calls it something else. I can't remember exactly what it is. I wonder if it works as well as the Apple counterpart. Users can adjust voice amplification by swiping the glasses' right temple or through device settings. Meta is also launching its first multimodal AI music feature in partnership with Spotify. By combining visual recognition with Spotify's personalization, users can ask Meta AI to play a song that matches what they're looking for, such as an album cover or a holiday scene, creating a moment-specific playlist hands-free. So you can look at stuff and be like, come up with a song that describes the setting that I'm in. Wonder how useful that is. Sounds cool on the surface. I actually wonder about how useful that is. Born Here says, if they added X-ray vision, I'm in, but I don't really like that people wearing them record you and ask you to speak with them. So I've thought this too. Like when we first started hearing about some of these smart glasses, I can't help it. But what was it? The World Is Not Enough. One of the James Bond movies. He has glasses that look like regular glasses, and indeed they're X-ray vision. And that whole scene where he goes into the casino and he's, checking out the people that are dressed up, they've got guns and stuff all hidden. It's rather entertaining. So Born, I'm with you on there. X-ray vision would be cool. It might be a blessing and a curse. I don't know if I want that out there in public for others, but I share the same worry that you have. These people walking around recording stuff all of the time. I didn't sign up for all of that. So I totally get it. I totally understand. Peter says, I hope we have Tim today. Yeah, I did too. I don't see him yet. It's possible that he's actually off today. I know that he had a lot of holiday stuff. He couldn't do the webinar last night. So it's possible that he's not available here today. I did send him the invite. So if we get him, great. But if not, Peter, I'm sure we'll bring him back. Might even be able to bring him back as like a bonus at some other point. But we'll see how that shakes out here today. Okay, let me get back to this. Sorry for going down the rabbit hole there. There we go. The software push coincides with Meta's plans to ramp up production of the Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses, with annual production likely to reach 10 million units by 2026 end. Meta's stock has gained over 12% year to date amid investor concerns over its AI and metaverse spending, with forecasts for higher capital expenditures for AI infrastructure overshadowing strong core business results. Growing Reality Labs losses added to that downward pressure. Reportedly, Meta plans to shift its virtual reality hardware towards higher-priced, more premium devices as it cuts back on metaverse spending and redirects resources towards AI-powered glasses while competing with Apple, Sony, and the high-end wearable market. Rising tariffs are pushing up costs, prompting Meta to slow new hardware launches and focus on better software, even as Quest sales soften and projects like its Phoenix mixed reality glasses face delays. At the same time, Meta is recognizing its AI strategy and leadership to counter growing competition from Apple's premium devices and Sony's PlayStation VR lineup. So let's actually take a look at the Meta chart while we do that, or after we talk about the news here. You know, part of me is still trying to like figure out the calculus on how much of a mover these glasses are. I know I've joked about the real mover for me will be stuff that I can use on the golf course that tracks the golf ball and all of that. I don't even know how realistic that is, to be quite honest with you. Here's what Meta's chart looks like. And again, it actually looks like we're going to have a key test coming up here pretty soon. So it does look like we bounced off of the 500 or that area. I guess we didn't actually test it. We did recapture the 20. We were rejected at the 200 day, but now we're setting up for another test of this. Now, we've talked a lot about this. Meta did have a death cross here on December 9th. It's worth noting that it had a golden cross on June 16th and a death cross right before that on May 6th. So I'm not sure how much oomph this death cross is actually going to have. Frankly, if Meta's price appreciates at all here over the next couple of days, this 50 is going to go right back through that 200, and that's basically going to give us another cross to the upside here. So to be quite honest with you, I'm not putting a whole lot of stock in it right now. What I would like to see is I'd like to see Meta climb above and then close above the 671 11 value. That represents the 200 day. And in the process of doing that, we would also recapture the 50. I think that would bode pretty well here. The other thing to keep in mind that's interesting about this potential trade to the upside, this is basic. There is a humongous gap above here on Meta. And it looks like we kind of already tested that. We had this one day where we kind of went through that and sold back down. Part of me wonders if this is the longer we kind of trade sideways here without breaking down, maybe the more we're kind of compressing. Remember, compression before expansion. And perhaps we can actually break through this high. This is about, let's call it 676 just to make it easy. Looks like that gap doesn't fill till 750. So a pretty nice area here for a trade. I would understand if there's a lot of folks looking for some upside move here on Meta. Maybe we get that coming into the end of the year here, and maybe we get that with the Santa Claus rally. One Oak Hookah. Ryan, I use it for phone calls every day, and I use them to give me a summary of long articles. Plus, you can look at a chart and get TA on it and ask for info and news. I think they're worth the money. AI ends work. I'm not sure what that means there, but you think they're worth the money. Now, that's interesting. That I didn't know. That's like a new thing. So basically, inside, you can look at a computer screen and look at a chart, and it will tell you chart formations that it identifies on the chart. That is actually kind of interesting. I don't know how I feel about sitting at my computer with sunglasses on just because it's doing some of the TA for me, but pretty interesting there. I would second what Bourne is asking you here. Is the TA any good? It's basic TA, but it's still helpful for looking at swings. Okay, interesting. Lion, you think Meta has some more room to run up? Okay, well, do you think it fills the gap? Put yourself out there, Lion. Do you think it breaks above and fills the gap here? And if you say yes, give me a time frame. Don't just say yes. You look cool with sunglasses indoors. Now, that seems to be a bit of a contention point, if you will. I took a photograph here with sunglasses inside just as kind of a joke one day, and it actually took me a while to live down. So there are definitely some folks that think that's stupid, but nonetheless, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Okay. Good stuff there on Meta, and good stuff on the chart. I do think there's a trade there if it can really kind of break above. We shall see. Now, I did have a couple of other pieces of news here. First one is actually going to be on Barrick Mining. This is ticker B. I know we've talked a lot about miners, gold, silver. Obviously, we led the show here with silver's new all-time high. Thank you, EKS. Barrick Mining has resolved a long-running dispute. This Barrick Mining, ticker B, by the way, sorry about that, has resolved a long-running dispute with the government of Mali. After nearly 2 years, including almost a year of halted production, the firm restored control over the Loulo Gounkoto, one of its most important gold assets. Barrick agreed to pay 244 billion CFA francs, or roughly 430 million USD, while authorities will return 3 metric tons of seized gold. 3 metric tons. The dispute began in 2023 when Mali revised its mining code. The military-led government wanted increased state revenues through higher taxes and royalties. Barrick resisted, calling for the honoring of the existing agreements. Tensions escalated through 2024 and audits intensified as export approval slowed. By early 2025, the court ordered the seizure of stockpiled gold, blocking exports and forcing the firm to suspend operations. Then in June, the government placed the mine under provisional state control. It's never good, effectively taking it over. Several Barrick employees were detained and negotiations stalled, eventually leading to the CEO's departure. Yet last month saw a breakthrough after the firm agreed to a financial payment and withdrew its international arbitration claim. In return, Mali released the detained employees and restored operational control of the complex. The return of the confiscated gold is now proceeding as a procedural step following the formal conclusion of legal proceedings, clearing the way for the mine to restart under Barrick's management. Gold has been one of the best performing assets in 2025, rising over 55% year to date. Meanwhile, Loulo Gounkoto, if someone knows how to properly pronounce that, let me know, because I feel like I'm not doing it right. But in any case, Loulo Gounkoto, has been one of the company's most productive assets. In the last few fully operational years, it produced between 700,000 and 725,000 ounces annually. Just a huge amount of gold. With the current gold price exceeding 4,300 per ounce, this level of production yields annual revenue potential of more than $3 billion. With the Mali situation now resolved, Barrick removes a significant geopolitical and operational uncertainty at a time when gold prices are at record highs. The agreement also strengthens the company's strategic flexibility, further opening the door to a potential spin-off of its North American gold assets. According to recent news, the spin-off idea is currently under review. If the IPO goes through, Barrick would separate its premier assets such as Formil, Pueblo Viejo, and Nevada Gold Mines into a standalone entity. Owing to the asset quality and safety of jurisdictions, the management expects to unlock new value for shareholders. Barrick Mining here, of course, ticker B was up 1.23%. So I turn that to you, especially the gold bugs here in the group. What do you think about Barrick Mining? I know it's made a pretty huge move here. I mean, this is nearly parabolic, basically just straight up here. Is there more room to run? Does this news change things for you? This, to me, just kind of looking at the chart, given the news here, I know I'm not necessarily a gold bug, or wouldn't consider myself one, but it sure looks like a pullback anywhere near this 50-day moving average would probably be viable. The 50-day moving average actually happens to line up with the double top that was formed in October and September. Look, I know that this gold's made a huge run here, and if you were in it, great. If you're not, might feel like you missed it. Let me know what you think on ticker B, Barrick Gold. I'm not surprised you own that lion. Let me know if you think there's more room to run here. Let's see, what else do we got here? I own it. Barrick is great. Okay, so you think it would, you think that this is going to keep going higher here. I'd like this on a pullback. That $40 level looks pretty good with the 20-day right down there, but better still is that 50-day moving average at about 36 and a half. 36 and a half. Okay. Last story here. Got to do a little bit of fear mongering here. Got to do both. I know I try to keep it positive here, but we're also going to take a look at what Michael Burry has to say. Michael Burry, the Big Short investor famed for predicting the 2008 financial crisis, has issued a dire warning about the trajectory of the U.S. stock market. On Wednesday, Burry highlighted a rare shift in households' wealth allocation, stocks overtaking real estate, suggesting it serves as a historic harbinger of a downturn that could last for years. The Exhibit 12 signal, he calls it. Burry shared a chart titled Exhibit 12, and I'll go ahead and throw this story here in the chat so you can take a look at all of the different charts and things that Burry has tweeted here. Sourced from Wells Fargo Securities and Bloomberg, the data tracks U.S. household allocation to equities versus real estate as a percentage of total net worth. The chart reveals that equity wealth has climbed significantly, recently surpassing real estate wealth. According to Burry, this specific crossover is a high conviction danger signal that has not been seen in decades. Here's the chart itself. You can see what this has done before. Burry's analysis relies on historical precedent. He pointed out that household stock wealth exceeding real estate wealth is an anomaly that previously occurred only in the late 60s and late 90s. The implications, according to the now deregistered Scion Asset Management founder, are severe. The late 1960s crossover preceded a decade of stagflation and poor real returns, while the late 1990s instance marked the peak of the dot-com bubble. The last two times, Burry noted in the post, the ensuing bear market lasted years. He signed off on the prediction with a moniker, Barry Burry. Barry Burry. All right. So there you go. There's some bad news there from Michael Burry. Kathy says, B has been one of my best holds this year, has both fundamental and technical strength. And now, Kathy, it's got that geopolitical overhang removed. So you should have a more clear runway there. Okay. We wanted to take a look at a couple of stocks here. So I want to go ahead and do that, but I'm actually going to start with Netflix because this is tied to some of the news that we're getting here today. Now, when we've talked about Netflix recently, I know there's been some talk about, where's the buy level? Where does it make sense to buy this? We've looked at some of the levels before, these previous lows around $83. We've also talked about the 500-day moving average. One of the things that I was saying recently is, we really kind of want this saga with Warner Brothers Discovery to be behind us before we take a position. And actually, as I look up now, they've got Rich Greenfield on CNBC talking about this merger. There's been so much content on CNBC this morning about this. You'd think that nothing else was going on, to be quite honest with you. Now, here's my thought on this. So the news here was that Warner Brothers Discovery told shareholders to reject the Paramount offer and instead go with Netflix. Now, we started to see Netflix sell off when they were making bids and they were figuring out how much money this was actually going to cost in order to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery. And we talked about, hey, the reason the stock is moving down is because they're about to spend a ton of money. We're not sure when we're going to see returns on that investment. That likely drove the price down a little bit there. We see that with a lot of mergers and acquisitions, and I don't think Netflix is any different. But what I am noticing here today, first of all, this kind of looks like bottoming action to me, right? Bottoms are never, well, I shouldn't say never. They're rarely clean Vs. They're rather a messy back and forth as the market figures it out. And although we only have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're about to start our 6th session. It's not a ton, but it does kind of look like it's turning around. But more than that, we got news here that it looks like Netflix is going to be the winner of this, if you could call it that. And instead of trading down, Netflix is actually trading up by 1.65%. So that forces me to think about, does the market have this kind of priced in now? If Netflix does actually acquire these assets, has the drawdown that we've seen in Netflix been enough to maybe make this a little bit safer to buy? Because of how often I look at charts, I would very much rather have this come into the 500-day moving average. But again, if we zoom in here, this kind of looks like some consolidation. And it kind of looks like Netflix could really bounce from this area if the synergy for adding Warner Brothers Discovery is good long term. Then this move down towards the 500 absolutely represents a buying opportunity, as we would expect Netflix to trade back up. I also do think Netflix is going to report well for the next quarter. Maybe it's my own personal bias because I am going to crack and buy Netflix again for 1 month so I can watch the NFL games on Christmas. I can't be the only one doing that. So I do expect some positive here for Netflix. Really, what I'm wondering is this back and forth with this merger and acquisition kind of priced into the stock now? If it is, sure looks like Netflix might be kind of reversing here and trading back up to the near the highs, or trading back up towards the highs, I should say. Let me know what you think here on all of this. Lion said, I've been dollar cost averaging Netflix. Yep, we've talked about that a number of times. Okay. Sorry, I don't know what the heck Brian is talking about. Oh, you're talking about Michael Burry. Only God knows the bottom, so I'm dollar cost averaging Netflix. Yeah, that's not a good investment thesis at all. We'll still try and pick them. We'll still try and identify where those bottoms are. I should amend that. I do think dollar cost averaging on quality stocks is a good idea, and I don't think Netflix is really going anywhere. So no problem. Zach says, I love the 500. So Zach, it looks like you'd be waiting for maybe a $10 drawdown there. Graph started dollar cost averaging under 100. Izzy, I know that you want it, but I have no idea what you're doing with it. Yassine says 90 for Netflix. So Yassine, that's almost the bottom end of this range, right? Yeah, that's actually like 92. So you'd actually like to see it take out these recent lows and then add it at 90. Okay. That's good stuff. So it looks like a lot of you folks are actually looking to, it doesn't seem like you're all that bearish on Netflix is the way I would put it. It seems like y'all folks think that this is probably a time where this is going to start moving back up. I'll be honest, I'm kind of looking at this. The action here this morning, like I was just saying there, the action here this morning has me thinking that this might be ready to take a long in. So we'll see. And I'll let you know if I see any unusual options on the back of this news when the market actually opens here. Smita says, I'm looking for 86 on Netflix. That number makes a lot of sense. That would be a very quick peak beneath the 500 here. And then the other thing that would set up for Smita is a quick recapture of that 500. I would also consider that bullish as far as the chart goes. So, okay, so that's where we're at with Netflix. That's where we're at with the news that's going on here. I know this has been a lot of back and forth, so we'll do our best to keep it on. Izzy says, let us know when you buy. Why? What does that do for your trading plan? How on earth does that help you? I mean, I'll do it, but I'd like to know how that actually helps you. Okay. Excuse me. I might be fighting off a cold here. Next stock is a stock that Ed wanted to take a look at. This is Restoration Hardware, ticker RH. This chart also interesting. Okay. Also kind of interesting. This is the way that we talked about this at Happy Hour was just rather amusing, so I'll repeat it here. This is the store where you want to spend, if you want to buy a $10,000 couch, this is probably the place you're going. Oh, God, I'm sorry. You know what? Let me call in the big guns. 13, I don't know what's going on with my throat here, but I've had to take more sips of tea than normal, and I keep coughing for no reason at all. So I'm glad you're here. Good morning. Happy Wednesday.
Good morning. And make sure you're getting that airborne in you.
Yeah, I have emergency.
All right. Hit it.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good idea. The next time I get up here, I'll go, I'll stir one of those up and pound that. That's a really good idea, 13. Thanks for looking out.
Hey, no problem. Hit the like
hit the like for some cold and health tips from 13 here early in the morning. I'll take that. All right, 13. I was just talking about. I don't know if you caught the Netflix segment. We were just taking a look at the Netflix chart, given the news that we have with this whole Warner Brothers Discovery thing. I did want to move on to RH here because Ed had asked us to take a look at this chart. What's interesting here, super, super expensive. The wealthy consumer is still spending. So I don't think this is necessarily going to be affected by what's going on in the economy here. Maybe we'll see. I know this thing initially took a hit on tariffs, although it looks like that's kind of behind it now. And then if you take a look at the chart now, sure looks like we put in a pretty stiff double bottom here around 139. I'm estimating it here with my cursor 139, 140. That entire level looks like we had an initial drawdown here towards 122 that we bounced from pretty significantly. The other thing here is that we actually have a couple of recent moves that took us above some of these key levels. We did recapture the 20. We actually stayed above it and used it as support. And then over the last 3 sessions here this week, we've made an attempt to get above that 50-day moving average. Now, yesterday we closed at 167.59. The 50-day moving average is at 166.85. So there you go. That is one close above the 50-day moving average. Next up, I have 197 as your 200-day on a possible move up here. And I also think that the RSI is kind of in no man's land here. The stock can really go anywhere. That should be pretty good for a move higher. So 13, I know I kind of just brought you on cold here, gave you very little time to prepare, but do you have any thoughts here on the RH Restoration Hardware chart?
Yeah, I see a couple of major trend lines here. One's a year-long trend line. The other's, I guess we could call it the COVID trend line. If you start with by drawing a line from August 11th on 2021, you might have to go further to the left there.
August 11th, 2021. That's got to be one of these highs, no?
Yeah. Yep. The highest of highs.
The highest of highs. Where's wisdom at?
Yeah, right. And draw it through January this year. There you go. So that's the longer term trend line that I'd be keeping an eye on for the price to come up to. The shorter one starts with the January high, and you take it through the September high, and you'll find that we have a candle that's trying to get over this trend line here, and it looks like we're getting pretty close to it. So I think that once we start closing over this trend line, then that's going to give us more of a bullish upside here. We have the 200-day SMA in the way, but I think this is going to be an indication of when we're actually turning around here. So that's what I'd be keeping an eye on, closing over this trend line multiple times, recapturing the 200. That's what looks like is next to me. So need to see those things happen, and then we can move on to the larger trend line.
Okay. Ed, let me know if that was helpful for you. And then also let me know, I didn't catch this earlier. Maybe you gave it to me and I just simply missed it. Let me know if you have an outlook here or a plan for trading Restoration Hardware. Yassine says, Ryan, it's 20K for a sofa, not 10K. My apologies, Yassine. That's, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't buy sofas that are that expensive. Sofas are great, and I spend a lot of time on the couch, but I like to get them from Costco where they're much more affordable. Yassine goes on to say, I eat at the restaurant inside. That's all, by the way, Ryan. The Oak Brook location, the restaurant is amazing. So the restaurant inside of Restoration Hardware, you just go there just to eat because it's great. And Oak Brook, that's the Oak Brook location. Maybe the next time I go out to Bettinardi Studio B, maybe I'll make a pit stop at the Restoration Hardware store and have lunch there. That was not on my bingo card, but that'll work. Okay, Restoration Hardware. Brandy's saying that Oracle is down on news. I guess we should go to that if there's news here. Let's take a look at Oracle. I'll tell you what, a move down towards this 171 would be awesome because this thing is absolutely a buy if it gets down there, at least in my opinion. Yeah. Here's what the Oracle chart looks like. Looks like we were about 190, 191 here in the pre-market, and we recently moved down here towards 184. Let's see what the news actually is on this. Let's see what we got here. Blue Owl won't back Oracle's $10 billion data center in Michigan. All right, so that is a report from the Financial Times, I believe. I'll see if I can get here it is, right? Thank you, Benzinga Pro, for just giving it to me. Oracle's $10 billion Michigan data center in limbo after Blue Owl funding takes a stall here. For anyone that's interested in it, I wonder if this is behind a paywall.
Probably is.
No, it doesn't look like it. Looks like I've got the whole article here. All right, so for anyone interested in this, let me actually link you the Financial Times article. We'll throw it right in the chat there for you. I haven't gone through this, obviously, but yeah, this looks like this is, let me see if I can just skim this here real quick. The software group faces increased concerns about its rising debt and artificial intelligence spending. Blue Owl had been in discussions with lenders and Oracle about investing in a planned 1 gigawatt data center being built to serve OpenAI in Saline Township, Michigan. Okay, I'm probably going to have to read through this when I've got some more time here. I don't necessarily, the headline really is what seems like is moving this down here. So that's the news, Brandy. Oracle down here, 1.8%. It is worth noting that this so far has held the low that we put in from Monday. Frankly, I think this is an absolute buy if this gets down to 171.5. What do you got, 13?
Oh, it just looks like from the article that the deal kind of fell through because the lenders are pushing for stricter leasing and debt terms. So,
okay.
And it was, I guess you're starting to see that that worry about lending out for data center builds. I think this is one of your earlier instances of that. If lenders are getting worried about this whole AI data center build out, then that's going to dry up this whole trade for pretty quickly. But I don't think it's done. It's just going to really slow it down and maybe even see some significant correcting as a result.
Okay. Marianetta here is asking, is 185 a strong support level? Well, that's interesting because I think the last time we took a look at this Oracle chart, we talked about this gap fill that fills down here at about 179. But then 13, we also have these two consolidation areas. I can't remember if this is something that you and I talked about or if I was kind of duplicating Anne-Marie's little boxes, those little range boxes that she does in technical analysis. That looks exactly like what this is. And obviously we had the price kind of fill in. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to extend this because it actually looks like this range was pretty darn good. So okay, back to the initial question here. Is 185 a decent support level for Oracle? I would say no. I would say it is. We're in a support area here, but I wouldn't say it's all that strong. Here's the deal. You have a possible gap fill if it just moves down a little 5 more points, which I think makes complete sense. And this is very clearly an area where, what do you call it? A supply zone, 13? Did I get it right? Demand zone. Sorry, I always mix those two up, so I want to make sure I check. This is a previous consolidation area, so I would expect this at some point in this range to support the price here. So I would say that I don't think you necessarily need to rush out at buy at 185. If it fills this gap or if it goes down to 171.5, this to me is a screaming buy. This is a pound the table buy. Anything else on this chart here, 13?
I'm just waiting to see if this the price action we're getting that I think is we're trading down into a falling wedge. I think if this continues, that's a bullish pattern because when we reverse and start to turn up out of this this price action, it's going to go on a run here back into the 200s. So just waiting for that to happen. We're still trading within the falling wedge.
Yep. Okay. And then Gary here, Ryan, be careful buying furniture at Costco. My friend bought a couch and the couch was flooded with bed bugs. Oh, yuck. He got it shipped home and his wife found a lot of bed bugs. Nasty work. That's actually kind of funny. Couple of things about that. Number one, I do have multiple pieces of furniture from Costco and I've not found a single bug or other insect in it. So I think I'm okay there. But the other really good part about that, the pushback that I would give you, of all of the places to buy furniture, probably the best to buy it from Costco, because if that happens to you, the return process is likely going to be easier there than anywhere else. I've seen people return open bags of cereal to Costco, which I can't wrap my mind around, but people do it. Costco, obviously known for its exceptional return policy. That's nasty. I would be very put off if that happened to me. So I understand exactly where you're coming from on that. But thankfully, fingers crossed, I haven't had to deal with that. Okay, looks like some more news here. EKS, you are on it today. We got a add-on here, the EKS news feed, nice, where he just provides breaking news for us. It's absolutely awesome. EKS, we appreciate you, of course. Breaking news, Trump is expected to sign an executive order on Thursday, December 18th, 2025, that would direct federal agencies to pursue reclassifying marijuana from Schedule I drug to Schedule III drug under the Controlled Substances Act. Okay, First thing I'm going to look at here is going to be MSOS. This is one that we had talked about. We actually talked about this in happy hour. Big time shout out to Stay Focused, who sometimes joins us here on the morning show and also joins us in happy hour. He said yesterday, looking at the candles, looking at the performance of some of these pot stocks, that it, quote, cannot be ignored, end quote. And this is what we get here today. MSOS, this is going to be your safer way to play some of these cannabis names. This is the pure US ETS, cannabis ETF, excuse me. We got a little pop on some of that news. This is actually holding higher than yesterday. You can see the run that this has made from like a 378 handle. We are almost at a double in 4 sessions. So I think that this is also going to mean that a lot of these cannabis movers are going to be in play here today. Now, I don't think anything has really changed. Like, we kind of discussed this catalyst the last couple of times we've talked about cannabis. So I think pretty much, I don't necessarily think that there's anything different here. We did a really good job highlighting the Banking Act that really needs to kind of pass here. What do you have any thoughts on how's CGC doing?
I think this is a lot more significant because it's actually going to happen. That's the big difference between last times and now. This might actually happen. So we'll see. I mean, as we're getting super excited about it, I think this could end up being a pretty decent trade, seeing as how these marijuana stocks have been hammered down this year. One of the names that I was talking about when we were going through a scan, and I pointed one out, and I was like, that's one that could get latched onto and go on a run. It's the one that's up the most today. Why CBD?
You did say that yesterday. That's a good call.
Because this one had one of the lowest floats, and we've been talking about how these low float names, it doesn't matter if it's these or one of the movers we've been trading all throughout the year. Lower floats, they latch onto them and they run them up, and this is one of them that had the lowest float. So here we are. There's sell the news tomorrow. I mean, maybe these could go on a run. It might end up being a sell the news initially, but after that's all done, then these could potentially continue higher.
Yeah, Kathy asking the same thing here. Is this a classic example of buying the rumor, selling the news, right? We've had this run up here with some of these back and forth. Now we're actually getting the news, that's for sure. I totally get it, Kathy, wondering if this is the inflection point. But I think I'm more 13. I think I'm with you. Maybe there is a little bit of selling here as profit takers do their thing. But I think that this is actually one of like the long-term milestones that we've been talking about with this entire trade here. And furthermore, like I said, this really kind of sets up for other catalysts like the Banking Act that we really need to see. By the way, I was just saying, yes, all of these cannabis stocks obviously being affected by this news here today. CGC actually looks like it's going to break 2 here today. So we'll see. We'll see if we get a trade on this. I will say this: I'm already in some CGC here. I'm kind of in it small. So if we get a bigger move here, maybe I'll take some gains. But I just have a handful of several hundred shares. This is not really. This is more of a tracking position more than anything else.
Because the interesting thing about the rescheduling is that, and it's not going to be like the Safer Banking Act where that's more geared towards marijuana as a business and to help them finance their business, but the rescheduling is going to lead to a lot of opening up of research. So we might start to hear some things from Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson and some of the big pharmaceutical names that are going to start to do more research into this once it's been rescheduled. So this could have legs.
Okay. Yeah. And Bob here saying, I don't like and don't trust weed stocks. And you know what, Bob? That is not a bad position to be in, because these things have... let's put it this way. There's been a lot of disappointment over the past with some of the cannabis trade. So I totally understand where you're coming from on that. But maybe something's different this time. I don't know. We'll see.
I think it'll be different once we get that reschedule. I mean, it's been talked about before. It's been pumped up. I mean, early or halfway through the last administration, they were talking about this, and the cannabis stocks went on a bit of a run, and then they came right back in. So until this is actually done, I don't think it's in our best interest to get super excited about it. But this is certainly something that the rest of the market is getting amped up about. So let's trade it. Let's trade the momentum.
Yeah. Let's see. We're all right. We printed 2 there. We got a 2 bid. here on CGC. Okay, good stuff. All right, you want to hit some of these movers? I suspect we're going to see some cannabis movers on that list, given this news here, but maybe let's go ahead and do that. Oh, look at that. The first one on the list is YCBD.
How about that?
Anything else that you want to mention about this? Did you have levels for it at all?
Let's see. I did briefly look at this yesterday, and I thought the financials were okay. It has revenue. It's not completely profitable yet, but they have a little bit of cash. You might have to do a capital raise, but this one didn't look too bad. Might be good. I don't know if I'd hold on to it through the rescheduling or any of these for that matter. Maybe they'll work, maybe they won't, but I think this is, these are going to be more of like a short term or even day trades, because they could come right back in tomorrow. But if there is going to be a signing tomorrow, then that might change that whole thing. But we'll if we get more information throughout the day, we'll see about that.
Here's what I'll say: if these are in play here today, and you want to trade it, and you think there might be something there tomorrow, my suggestion would be, if you get profits here today, book some of it, and then maybe hold part of your position for tomorrow, see how it goes. At least then you'll already have a buffer. At least then you'll already have some profit. And if it goes against you, if it is in fact the sell the news type thing, at least you'll have your risk diminished and you'll have some profits booked there. Frank mentioning here in the chat, I made a killing on pot stocks in 2018 through 2019. And Frank, I totally get it. Like, as 13 was kind of saying, these things can be vehicles for trades. Even if the whole story doesn't materialize in front of us, they can be short-term day trades. There's a lot of money to be made on some of these things. And that doesn't come without its fair share of risks, of course, but just shows you that it can be done. Yeah. Blazed Rhino says it's worth buying a handful of shares to me. And that's so I really like that, Blazed Rhino, because also in your comment there, it really comes down to your own risk level. If you have like a moral objection to weed, you should probably avoid all of these stocks. That's just going to complicate the trade. If you don't care, or you think, risk is kind of low here, I can handle a small loss if this doesn't work, maybe this is a perfect thing for you to trade there. So, okay. Jeremy saying CGC has been slowly leaking the past few months. Price has to go up for a few days before people will sell the news, I think. Indeed, and actually that little bit of a leaking, that's where I was kind of adding 100 shares here and there at a time, just because it was just such a low amount of money. Okay, that's YCBD. Next on the what's up? What do you got?
CGC is a much heavier float to move around.
Oh yeah.
Compared to YCBD, this is like many more times larger.
Yeah, that's a good point. I should have mentioned that. Thank you, 13. All right, next here on the list is going to be ticker DBVT. This is DBV Technologies. Shares are trading higher after the company announced top-line results from its phase 3 Vitesse trial met its primary endpoint. So we're getting more bio news here on a phase 3 study. The stock is holding higher by 41%. This was actually above 32 in the after hours yesterday. So looks like some pretty good data here driving the stock higher. The other thing is that there was a little bit of a drawdown here when the pre-market session opened, but buyers have stepped back in and we are still at the high end of the range there. So that's great. Taking a quick peek at the short interest on DBVT, we have nothing there, almost nothing. 0.1% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of about 250,000 shares a day. Today, we've traded just shy of 1,840,000. Float on this one is 33.24 million. So 13, what do you think of the news here? One more thing. Sorry. We also got some re-ratings here. Citizens maintain market perform, raising the price target to 45. Guggenheim maintains buy, raising the price target to 51. So we got a couple of different price target raises here. Let me see really fast. If I go to the analyst ratings tab here, indeed, Citizens and Guggenheim at the top. So check this out. This is actually a new feature for Benzinga Pro. The price target changes, they're automatically calculated for you here in Pro now. The two price targets, one is up by 45.7%. The other one is up 114%. These are really big price target adjustments. Now, the rating's the same, but the price target adjustments are substantial. 13, what do you think of the chart?
Well, the what I was looking at first was the clinical trial itself. This is phase 3, but according to their website, they have a couple other cohorts that are being tested with this peanut patch, as this Bioskin. This one that they announced today was for ages 4 to 7. They also have one going on for ages 1 to 3 and ages 4 to 11. So I don't know if those have been finished yet or not. It looks like they might have. So this could be the last of the phase 3. I don't have confirmation of that. But it looks like those other ones may have already finished. And if that's the case, then the next step to me would be to meet with the FDA for approval. So that would be the next thing that's coming. Though the best thing to do is to read the release, the SEC filing and the press release, because that'll tell you what's going to be next for this particular patch. But that would be my my thought here, is that they're going to if this is the final cohort of this skin patch that they've got working on here, then in all likelihood they're going to move on to the FDA approval. In which case, that's probably going to require some more capital to bring it to market.
Yep, I was just wondering that.
And looking at their cash position, they have a little more than 69 million in the bank, but their cash runway appears to be half that every quarter. So it looks like they have about 2 quarters worth of cash, maybe 3 if they're not burning it since this trial is concluded. That would be my guess, is that they're going to have to raise capital here in the next couple of quarters here, because this doesn't look like they have a whole lot more beyond that, unless they've got something that they've done earlier in the year that I just haven't noticed as far as capital raise. But that's what I see here for DVVT. As far as the chart goes, let's see here. So it looks like all the news came yesterday and it went up to $33, and since then it's just been leaking. We're kind of between the after hours and the pre-market, there is a bit of a gap here that it starts filling. It looks like about 25 and change, like 25.70, all the way up to 28.25. So that would be the gap that I see here between the after hours and the pre-market high. If we can recapture that, then maybe we see 33 again. But that's a pretty big gap to fill. As long as we hold above the 65 EMA, I'd say that it's possible.
Okay, good stuff there. Jay here says, I'd be in trouble if I was allergic to peanuts. Jay, you and me both, man. I absolutely love peanuts and peanut butter and anything therein that contains those things. I'm with you there completely. Actually, when I was a kid, I had a buddy that had a severe allergic reaction to peanuts. It was so bad that he actually couldn't go to baseball games because people would eat peanuts, drop the shells on the floor, and then when they would get crunched up, that dust would come up and actually aggravate him. So he literally could not attend sporting events because of his very severe allergy. Nasty stuff. I thank my lucky stars every single day. My allergies are really weird. Bee stings, olives, and pineapple, and they're all fairly mild, thankfully. So even if the worst happens, I have a very, very mild reaction. Never like a life-threatening thing. I think unless I got stung in the neck by a bee, I probably have no life-threatening allergies, thankfully. Okay, and then really quick, we had a question here. Sebis YouTube channel 1400. Does anyone know if Weed News has any betting odds for tomorrow? Yeah,
like a prediction market,
they do.
Oh, I love how you just have that right ready to go.
Absolutely. Here's the thing. I actually, we were talking about how next year the show's going to be changing a little bit and we're going to have more segmented things. What do you guys think about a prediction market segment where we kind of talk about some of the different bets that are out there, some of the trending bets that can be made on Kalshi and Poly Market? We can take a look at some of those together. We can discuss what we think, whether or not this is going to happen. There might be some of these that then have implications on other stocks. So Bourne says, heck yeah. So I think we might do that. And I think what I might do right now, you guys have questions like this, I will try and pull it. Yes, love that idea. Yes, let's do it. EKS laughing ? Big Hurt says, no, thanks. We don't need that. Tara likes it. Okay.
I'm kind of with Big Hurt, and here's why. MSNBC, I think, or CNBC, a couple of these other, financial channels, they're doing this, and I've criticized it because I think this just further, reinforces the idea that we're leading to more gamification of this market, which we are. And I just think that this is the kind of thing that leads to bad decision making when it comes to stocks. I'd like to keep. I think this is just my opinion. So if you have it, then that's fine. But keeping gambling separate from from the financial, from stocks, is something that I think is better. But we have the gamification of the market anyway, so it's kind of eventually leading into being just this one big thing.
Well, here's one of the ways I appreciate that, and I thank you for telling me that. I think one of the ways that we can do this is we can kind of factor that in, right? Mm-hmm. We can almost kind of take the approach that, hey, this is definitely becoming more and more popular. Zach here said expand the horizon. It seems like this is just the way everything's going. I mean, hell, Robinhood allows this in their brokerage now. I think what we can do then is we can kind of approach this from the aspect of, hey, this is gambling and higher risk and something that is actually separate from stocks. That's one of the reasons why I thought maybe tying this to implications in the stock market might also be beneficial. If you don't like gambling, stay away from the prediction markets, but know what's going on in the prediction markets, because that might affect something that you do not consider gambling, like an investment that you have in a company. So I think there's ways to do this where it's still beneficial, but that feedback's really good, 13, and everyone else that gave feedback here in the chat. I like that. I appreciate that a lot.
If we can front run that and just kind of make it known that this is like we're here's the movers, here's where prediction markets are, this kind of risk. If we can make that known going into talk about this, I'm fine with that. But I think it's super important that everybody understands that this can lead to bad decision making when you're actually trading equities. So I'm aware of that.
I would agree with that. And 13, maybe let's adopt that approach. Maybe let's adopt that approach. But just to at least answer the initial question here, is there a way? Are there odds for this? Yes, there is. And in fact, it looks like, I mean, obviously anything can change here, but the way I would look at this, since we're talking about this is gambling, it looks like Kalshi is selling dollars for 82 cents. Okay. Right, because we're getting confirmation here, right? Or that's what it sounds like. Now, I guess we'll see how this all plays out. But yes, 82 cents for yes, 19 cents for no. Okay, I totally agree with 6. I think he means you.
Yeah, he does.
He does. I totally agree with 13. Okay. Okay. Really good stuff there. But in any case, I do think even if you don't participate in prediction markets, I think that there's value in here for at least knowing what some of these odds are. And by the way, Benzinga is a stock market company. We will never move fully away from our ethos there. Prediction markets seem to be a kind of a popular thing. So we'll try and do that and then outline some of the risks alongside it so that we make it very clear that it's different. Okay, enough rambling there. Good question, though. Good discussion as well, and great feedback from the chat. Next stock on the list here is going to be ADTX. How do you say the name of this company, 13? Aditext?
Sure.
Yeah, see that? Nice job punting on that one. I'm not really sure either. I just gave it a shot. That's what's going on. Now, the news that's going on here, this actually had according to the Securities and Exchange Commission, in a filing on Tuesday, stockholders of record as of December 5th will vote on NASDAQ's marketplace rule for compliance, which requires shareholder approval for issuances exceeding 20% of the outstanding shares at below market price. The proposal covers the issuance of common stock underlying Series 1A convertible preferred stock from December of 2023, Series C1 convertible preferred stock. So it looks like, and then they also said that they're going to do a name change here. Stockholders can additionally cast a non-binding advisory vote on changing the company name from Aditext or whatever to BitXBio. So this is what's going on here. This is the news that's affecting it. Obviously, the stock's up 37%. Take a look at the short interest on this name. 22.51% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. Comes on an average 100-day volume of 761,000. Today we've traded 13 million. Float here, super low float. I've got it marked off here at 559,000 shares in the float. So looks like this one can be pushed around. We'll see how it goes. 13, here's the chart. What do you think? I'm going to step away real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, this thing could be pushed around quite a bit because it's been, going through a year of just some wild reverse splits. Only two, but they're massive. The first one was in March, and that was a 1 for 250. And then now they just did one last month on the 3rd. A 1 for 113. So, yeah, this thing is getting reverse split, and I can understand why the short interest would be high and the float would be low at this stage. Looking at the chart, let's pull this up here. We're beneath VWAP. Been pretty much beneath VWAP since the impulse move at the pre-market open that took it up to 275. Came right back down after that. There was another attempt to recapture VWAP. A little more than an hour ago. So until we get back above VWAP, sideways is where it looks like it could end up going. It's kind of bouncing back and forth between the VWAP and the 200 EMA as it's been doing all morning. So whatever breaks first, that's what I think the direction is where the price is going to go. Looks to me like if we do get over the VWAP, there's going to be some resistance around 210. You can see that from that candle at 8:10 this morning. That did make it through the VWAP and went up to about 215, but it found some pretty significant resistance and came right back in. So that 210, 215 area, I think we're going to want to see a move not only through VWAP, but that area as well has been providing some resistance this morning.
Okay. That was really good timing there, honestly. Really good timing on my part. Good job. All right, next one here is going to be Udemy. This is ticker UDMY. This stock is ripping here, up 32.5%, moving from a 5 handle up into a 7 handle. Lucky 711 as the price right now. Coursera to combine with Udemy to empower a global workforce with skills for the AI era. So it looks like Coursera has identified $115 million of annual run rate cost synergies by merging with this company. Coursera sees executing sizable share repurchase program following the deal closing. So that's likely driving this higher as well. Let me see if I can get... So this is... Coursera, which is ticker COUR, and Udemy, UDMY, today announced that they have entered into a definitive merger agreement under which Coursera will combine with Udemy in an all-stock transaction. Based on the closing prices of Coursera and Udemy common stock on December 16th, the implied equity value will be about $2.5 billion. It doesn't say what it's going to trade under here.
Yeah,
that's what I was looking for here. Here's the transaction details.
Like, is it going to be Udemy or COUR, or is it going to be a new ticker, is what you're wondering?
Udemy stockholders will receive 0.8 shares of Coursera common stock for each share of Udemy common stock, representing a 26% premium to the average closing price of Udemy and Coursera over the last 30 days and prior to the announcement. Upon the closing of the transaction, existing Coursera stockholders are expected to own approximately 59%, and existing Udemy stockholders are expected to own approximately 41% of the combined company.
Yeah, so Coursera has the larger cash position and the larger market cap, and I think the larger revenue, but they're not quite profitable, or they're kind of teetering on that. Udemy, on the other hand, they are slightly profitable, but they just, I don't think they're, I think the revenue might be about the same, but their cash balance is much lower. So I guess that makes sense to, with the amount of cash that Coursera has, they could do stock buybacks once they've merged. But it seems like Udemy is the one that's, for the time being, the more well run.
This is an interesting question here. I'm sorry to distract. I'll go through the stats. We'll take a look at the chart here in a sec, but this is a really nice tie-in from the happy hour discussion. Positive Trader, Ryan and 13, do you feel Udemy has any association with the possible theme that we discussed regarding tech schools and education? So just for some context there, one of the things that we were discussing is that some decent plays might be something that kind of goes along with trade schools. UTI was the really good example. LINC, Lincoln was another one. There were a couple of others. I can't place all of them right now. But the thought here is that college looks less and less appealing, especially as the curriculum and the entire thing seems to continue to fall apart. Trades are never going to be out of favor. You're always going to need someone to fix your car or your toilet or your electrical work or whatever. And it's really shocking how much money can be made from some of these trades. There seems to be a push to go into some of these trades. I think it would really kind of just help the country as a whole if more people were skilled in a lot of this stuff. So this theme is one that I spent time doing car repair, and I really enjoy learning on being handy and then doing projects around my home myself. So this is something that is near and dear to my heart here. What's interesting about this question, Udemy operates a marketplace platform at the center of a vibrant knowledge network. The company operates under two operating and reportable segments, consumer and enterprise, out of which enterprise segment drives maximum revenue. So data technology and insights for effective learning experiences. So I don't know what type of curriculums are available on this platform. I've never used it myself, but I would imagine then that, yes, this would be a positive because this is going to be on like an online learning knowledge base that people can refer to and update their skills or whatever changes in that field. So I hadn't thought about this until you asked it. I would say yes, this is something. What do you think, 13?
I think that I think it will, but it's going to be more on the back end, the back half of the build out for data centers, if not the after they're built, because this is more on. It seems like this is more along the lines of software, and that doesn't necessarily fall into the theme that I was talking about. Where when we're building these things, you need construction, you need electricians, those kinds of workers, and that's going to all be coming first. And then maybe after we get a lot of this infrastructure built and the buildings themselves and start to put servers in them, then you're gonna start to get this skill set to come in and do the work. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. So I think yes, it could be, but it might not have that immediate need for some of these new builds. So that would be where I would start with this. And I don't know exactly what Udemy and Coursera are going to end up offering aside from what was just said. I'd have to look into that some more. But that would be my initial thought, is that this kind of skill set is going to be sought after for the back half of the build out.
Okay. It looks like there's some back and forth here too on this. So interesting. Really, really interesting. We'll see how this trades here, but that's what's going on. All right. We got time here. Good question though, Positive. I like that. I like where your head's at. Real quickly here, this stock 5.7% of the float shorted. Do we have days to cover on here? Let me check what the actual days to cover metric is. Days to cover 334. So there's some here, but I wouldn't consider it high. On average, stock trades just shy of 2 million shares. We've already done 6.7 here today, and the float is 6 million. So looking at this, what do you think? Do you think there's a trade here? It looks like it's actually trying to take another leg higher here in the pre-market right ahead of the open.
We did got some pullback here. We got 2 minutes before we open. This looks like it's, according to the MACD, it looks like it's starting to roll over here, and could see some selling into the open. We're coming down to the VWAP. I'd keep an eye on that. Just looks like the momentum is starting to swing to the downside. So if the VWAP catches that, then maybe there's a trade here. But to me, it looks like we're sinking into the open. I think I'd let this play out first.
Okay. All right, good stuff there. Udemy. Beat is coming back here. I don't think there was any fresh news on this. I think this is just a continuation. Let's see. Yep, nothing fresh here. Just looks like another plus 18.9% here in the pre-market. I would just use the technicals here on Beat. I don't really think there's anything else we need to necessarily discuss.
That's been sideways all morning.
Yep, indeed. Next one here is HUT. That's ticker HUT. HUT 8 shares are trading higher after the company announced a partnership with Anthropic and FluidStack to accelerate the development of hyperscale AI infrastructure in the United States. Also, the company signed a 15-year, $7 billion lease with FluidStack for 245 megawatts of IT capacity at its Riverbend data center campus in Louisiana. HUT here popped, looks like 46 was your upside resistance. We've actually lost the VWAP on some of this pullback here, although it looks like it's trying to hold on to the
65 EMA.
65 EMA. Exactly, you got it. It's a quick peek at the short interest here on HUT. 15.05% of the float charted with 2.44 days to cover. It comes on an average 100-day volume of 7.45 million shares. Float here, one of the thicker ones, up around 100 million. You have any thoughts here on ticker HUT 13?
Looks like this is another one that might be trading down into the open, but it's still holding above the 65 EMA. So I think that if we hold that into the open, this might be able to turn around. We're just a few seconds away, so let's just see what we're
getting. Flipping over to the main workspace. Let's get it rolling. Let's have a good Wednesday.
There it is.
Let's have a good Wednesday here, folks.
All right. Yeah, Udemy going lower. HUT going lower. Beat going lower. This is why I wanted to wait. Things were looking a little weak out of the gate.
Yep.
ADTX, though, that's pushing up higher here. Trying to recapture VWAP. We'll see if you can get going here. Remember, VWAP was the big problem indicator that this stock was having, trying to get over all morning. And here we are getting above it. Going into some consolidation from the after hours, but let's see what kind of volume it gets.
Okay. All right, let's see what we got here. Here's your ADTX. It looks like it's actually trying to battle with the VWAP here. On the flip side, UDMY, that's actually battling with the VWAP on the downside. DBVT, good mention here from K. Tyler, says, I can't trade DBVT. Both Tasty Trade and Toss have marked it as close only. So if you're going to trade that, you actually have to call in order to open the position. Then you can close it electronically. I avoid those, Tyler. Honestly, I don't like that at all. I will probably end up avoiding DBVT here completely today. Can you imagine me calling in the broker while we're on the show here and be like, let me buy the damn stuff? That'd actually be kind of entertaining, but we're not going to do that.
I guess I'd be curious. Is that like do they just do that with margin accounts, or is it that also with cash accounts?
No, I don't think that margin or cash has anything to do with it, actually. I think that the reason they force some of these calls is because they view the stock as a higher risk for whatever reason. Perhaps it's geographical location or its history. And they just want to put that extra step in there so that it's harder to manipulate. Something like I don't know. You would have to ask them. That'd be my guess on that.
I don't know how I feel about them, acting as my fiduciary when that's not what I want from them. I just want to be able to trade.
I'm with you. So avoid, right? Avoid.
I guess.
RX being mentioned here by Clean State. I actually thought about Kathy when I first saw this news here today. This is another pharmaceutical company. This actually trading higher after JP Morgan upgraded the stock from neutral to overweight and raised its price target from 10 to 11. Stock is at 475. This is ripping out of the gate here.
Yeah, and this coming up to the 65-day EMA, so that would put it about 486. That could be the near term resistance area. So let's see if that's what we end up getting here. We did get some resistance from that earlier this month on the 8th, that very same EMA before it pushed the price back down. So I would think 65 EMA is going to be your next area of resistance. So keep an eye on.
Tara here says, I have a cash account and I run into those same things there. Robert saying Schwab also does it on cash accounts. The list of securities constantly changes, and frankly, it's annoying. Okay, CGC is going. We kind of expected this out of the pot stocks here today. Again, my cost basis on the little position that I have here is down at 140. Let me check the actual price. 140.52. So I'm up, not even a full dollar here. Frankly, I'd like to be up $1, and a half before I start thinking about taking profits again. The position here is really small. And now that we've kind of talked about this, I think we might wait for that executive order signing on the small position that I have. But this is popping here out of the gate. ADTX. We expect some other stocks to do it too. Which one?
ADTX is going up as well.
Got it.
Looks like YCBD went underneath $2, got some support from the 65 EMA, and it's trying to push back through the VWAP here. So initial selling out of the gate, maybe the marijuana names start to turn around and go higher. We're starting to get a rebound in beat. Hut also.
Here's Tesla. Tesla's ripping out of the open. Tesla had a monster day yesterday. Remember, rewind back to yesterday when right around the open, I was telling you guys that I was seeing massive call buying and call sweeps for short-term Tesla trades up to 500 and 515. Well, look where we're at here today. We actually looked like we might try and test 500 yesterday. Weakened a little bit here in the pre-market, but straight out of the gate, back up towards 496. Also, and I mentioned this on the happy hour yesterday, I caught a tweet, and I'll see if I can find it here, but I caught a tweet that there was a rumor that those that own Tesla will have the ability to buy SpaceX as kind of like a priority when that IPOs. Elon had talked about that before, apparently, so this actually has some legs to it. That, to me, would kind of explain why Tesla is trading up these last 2 days.
Why?
It's a rumor. It is what it is. Sorry.
Why CBD is on a tear right now after getting support from the 65 EMA. Now it's coming right back in as soon as I said something. But this looks like it might be trying to push higher here. We just went up to the pre-market high of 226 and then backed off. So let's just see if we can get some consolidation here above the VWAP and then have it make it the next move that takes us through that pre-market high.
Okay, this looks like this is coming up to that resistance area there.
HUD as well.
YCBD.
HUD as well. ADT now pulling. And MSOS also pushing up higher. So some of these marijuana names trying to push higher. RX you were mentioning earlier, that's now at a high of 485. So we went right to the 65 EMA, just barely tapped it. That was 486 I was looking at. So we just barely got it by a penny.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't retreated completely yet. So if we can consolidate up here, we might be able to get a move through the 65 EMA. And if that happens, then I think resistance may be up around just over 5, like 5 to 505. We might see some more resistance.
Okay, remember the price target here moved from 10 to 11. It only moved up $1, but man, that price target is a double from where we're at here.
And then yes, sell high. I think it's Celsius. But, he's mentioning MSOS. That's doing all right. That's
ACAN, another pot stock here. SNDL is being mentioned here by Matthew. That's another pot stock that's moving up to the highs. So actually, this one pulled back a little bit. It looks like the entire sector here going. Some stronger than others.
Yep. Yeah, I think that YCBD one, being that it had a really low float, was the one they seem to have been latched onto for the time being. Getting a rebound. ADTX. ADTX is now beneath its VWAP. It seems like it has not been able to close above the VWAP, so it's still getting some suppression in the movement to the upside for ADTX because it's not able to recapture that important indicator.
Matthew here mentioning one of your themes for 2026. Batteries looking pretty good today. He's mentioning ABAT as well as Cooler, which I guess is making some moves here today. And here is ABAT. This is up out of the gate.
And YCBD, man, this thing is this was the winner. At least it is so far.
Yeah, it sure was so far. Yeah,
237 now, moved over the pre-market high, coming back in a little bit. Now hopefully we'll test it as support and to see if this can go higher. So really nice move in YCBD this morning.
Jay here mentioning SMH weak again. So it looks like we're seeing some more continued rotation out of some of those semiconductors. You also mentioned that NVIDIA was notably weak. Although the market is totally reversed, it actually looks very similar to this. NVIDIA below yesterday's lows here, 174 just got broke. Here's a look at the, oops, I got to type the ticker incorrectly. Here's a look at the SPY intraday chart. We did give up 680 here, 676, a support level from yesterday.
Let's see what I can see here for the price action on SPY.
Micron lower ahead of its earnings. I mean, I am seeing some calls get bought into that. $3.85 million. That is expires on December 26th. Trader bought 1,000 contracts there. Those are the 200 calls. So those are deep in the money. I almost wonder if that's a closing trade ahead of the earnings print today.
And SPY is still trying to recapture. So this is I love how this is working out. The SPY is still having a hard time with that 680 level. It was support earlier this week and last week, and since we opened underneath it yesterday, it's been resistance. We were rejected once yesterday. We're getting rejected here again this morning. We still have a whole day ahead of us, so things could turn around and we could end up recapturing this and closing up and close above it today. But for the time being, we are getting rejected by it, and we are moving down towards the previous all-time high of 678.47. That's going to be an area of support. If we lose that, the 20-day SMA is right beneath it.
Okay. All right, good stuff there. Netflix calls. We talked about Netflix here today. It looks like that saga might be coming to an end here. 13, one of the things that I had said here is it actually looks like Netflix is trying to bottom here. I was struck because the news here this morning is that Discovery tells shareholders to reject the Paramount offer and recommend the Netflix merger. And as a result, Netflix is actually trading up as opposed to trading down with the anticipation of having to spend all of that money. So certainly seems like it's trading a little bit differently here today, albeit that's only one day, so the sample size is small, but perhaps the bottom is in here in Netflix near term.
Buffalo, glad that Crimp Biscuit, glad that the YCBD stock is working out for you. That's a great price you got there.
Hey, oops. Well, open that treasure chest,
Yep.
But what I was trying to go for was this one.
Hey, that works too.
Yeah. Ring that register. You get those trades, ring that register.
RX still trading above the VWAP. If this continues, it looks like we could still push higher here beyond the 487 high we printed already. Looks like MSOS is trying to get it back above 7, still above VWAP as well. Just kind of waiting to see what else is happening here. You know, we're getting that support from the SPY around the 678.47 previous all-time high. Matter of fact, it looks like it's starting to reverse. If you go look at a smaller time frame, we went right down to that level, just a few cents shy of it. Looks like actually 1 penny shy of it, and we turned right around, and we're trying to get back above some of the lows from earlier this morning.
RZLV Resolve AI. This was yesterday. I'll tell you what, this was actually a good move. This get great pullback to the VWAP, and then it actually printed new highs later in the afternoon. So if you were patient, this worked out. Now it looks like we have another extension past the pre-market high here today. So maybe RZLV gets rolling here.
Want to draw a trend line?
Yeah, actually I do. RX, I just wanted to check in on that real quick. That's back up at the highs. All right, 13. Let's trend line this bad boy up. I actually think I know what you're alluding to here. Did I not type the thing in there?
RZLV.
RZLV. Did I type in RZL? Did I type in RXRX when I was already on the RXRX chart? Good Lord. All right. I think the trend line that you're talking about originates right here. Come on.
I just drew mine from the after hours through the pre-market.
Oh, okay. So you didn't actually
use that one.
You know what? I'm going to use this one. We might have a little slightly different, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So it looks like it still ran into that trend line and got rejected here, RZLV.
Yeah, the one that you did from the after hours to the pre-market, that hasn't been hit yet, but it just kind of gives us something to shoot for. That means that from here, if the price turns around and goes up, it looks like the 350s, like the high 350s is where this trend line would provide resistance. Looks like we're really starting to sink here now, though.
Yep, indeed. Daniel here mentioning we have our halt stock, ticker PCSA, Processa Pharmaceutical. That's fun to say, Processa. This resumed at 941.06 and rehalted at 941.24. This was not even open for 20 seconds. You're right. 17 seconds. That might be a record, Daniel. that is unbelievable. This stock looks like it tried to print 10 earlier back down here at 472.
Well, looks like some of these names are just
that is our halt stock
coming down to some support. Excuse me, some support levels. ADTX. This one went down to the 200 EMA, where it's been getting support for pretty much the entirety of pre-market, and it's trying to turn around and recapture VWAP. What is my take on ANDG? Not sure what that is. Let's take a look.
I was going to say, do you even know what that is? I don't recognize that ticker.
The Anderson Group. This isn't giving me anything. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, there's no data on that. Let me see if I'm just having a problem there. If it comes up in my broker, Yeah, I have nothing here for that. I don't know what ANDG is. Sorry.
Maybe typo check.
Oh,
See
is
if
it
there was
listed today? Is that what it is? Is an IPO today?
I can tell you. Don't forget, by the way, speaking of IPOs today, we are getting Medline here today, which is the biggest IPO of 2025, ticker MDLN. Here's Anderson Group. So this price between 14 and 16, and it's looking to IPO here. It hasn't started trading yet, which is why you don't have data on it.
Right. So it looks like they're pricing it at 16 yesterday. I don't know if that's going to change. I don't know anything about this company. So until we get some price action where I can, get an idea of what what this is going to do, don't really have an opinion on it. A lot of times with these IPOs, they initially will, get bid up really fast and then come crashing down. Don't know if that's what we're going to get here today. Don't know what the price action is going to be like. I'm sorry, I can't really provide any kind of.
Is this the private equity group, the Anderson Group?
Provider of independent tax valuation and financial advisory services.
Yeah, that's got to be it.
Individuals, family office, yeah. So probably is. Private client services. Sounds like what it is.
That's what it sounds like to me. Yep. Yeah, I don't have anything on that either. We could always ask private equity veterans. Let me see if I can shoot one a text here. Let me try something here for it. Now, I'm not making any guarantees here, but let me at least try something.
Here we go with YCBD making new session highs.
Let me put that on screen while I'm doing this.
Looks like 240 has got a big seller in the way, so that's potential resistance right there. And looking around some of these other names. A lot of sideways action this morning. Nothing really super ripping right now, except for maybe that halt vest one that you guys.
That's going to be fun, isn't it?
And what was the ticker on that one again?
PCSA.
Oh,
I'm trying to get the ANDG.
I've got a whole bunch of levels for this. Okay, well, perfect. That saves me a lot of work. Next level I have here is 510, and then above that 595.
All right. PLTD, your inverse Palantir ETF. This on the scanner here as Palantir moves down towards 180. Actually broke 185 there, back into a 184 handle. Palantir down 1.5% here. PLTD trading up on that.
Amazon.
Chipotle, how's that? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just reading what as he was saying. I'll look at Amazon. Go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you what, Chipotle here. You guys were talking about this recently. I think the bottom is in, right? I think we cut. Jay, are you still on this, Jay? I think that you were trading this. We're actually in a gap fill here on Chipotle. This looks good up to 40 to me. Chipotle, ticker CMG.
Big pull in the marijuana names.
Oh, we expected that, didn't we?
Well, I think we were expecting that more to happen tomorrow, but this is.
I think it's going to be volatile all day, especially ahead of the order signing tomorrow.
Okay, what is going on here? Why is my chart not coming up?
Which one?
Amazon.
Let me see if I can bring it up here. Looks like it's working here. I would try a refresh. See if that.
It must not like that I was looking at ANDG.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't have data for that yet, so that's probably got an open endpoint there. That's probably what's going on. The noob, he's back. I'm doing my part. Chipotle 3 times a week. I'll tell you what, maybe you're the reason for it turning around. Lion, you're right. We did talk about that bottom around $31. It's actually up several points now from that. Looks pretty good. Jay is still long it.
So you were asking me earlier today about demand zones, and it looks like Amazon may have come down to the demand zone from yesterday. So if you look at a smaller time frame chart,
got it on screen.
You can see that all day yesterday it was pretty much just sideways, and the price this morning came right down into about the middle of that and is trying to turn around. Hasn't recaptured some of these levels, some of these highs from yesterday, but it looks like it's trying to turn around here. And it did have a pretty big drop out of the gate that made the 5-minute RSI pretty low. So I don't know if we're going to completely turn around and go higher here, but it looks like it's trying to find some support.
Okay. UDMY, we talked about this one a little bit. Perhaps this is trying to turn around now. Looks like a nice little VWAP recapture there at 689.
Amazon looks like it's got resistance around 225. So probably if it can't recapture and close above that in the next day or two, I think that we're going to have another visit underneath 220, maybe even the 200-day SMA.
Okay.
All right, here. PCS.
IRBT is a penny stock, but it's screaming right now. And ADTX trying to battle its VWAP again. Sorry, 13. What do you got for us?
Oh, just looking at PCSA. That's still halted. You were looking at what?
Oops. I was just looking at ADTX as the last stock here. It looks like it's trying to move through its VWAP again. It did it once, pulled, and looks like it's trying to do it again.
Yeah, that's been the story of this all morning. That VWAP's been kind of ridiculous. We've seen it trade above the VWAP, only to have the next candle pull it right back beneath it. That's happened, looks like several times a couple times in the pre-market, once or twice, or looks like once in the regular session. So we'll see if it can push through it here. Let me look at CMG, as I wasn't looking at that when you guys were.
That's just in its gap fill up towards 39.
Yes, it is.
It's right there at the highs here too.
And on the way up to the gap fill, you might run into some resistance around 38.5. So you know how you're on the way back up, you can see like this from the daily chart. It's makes these moves up, kind of goes sideways, falters a little bit, and then after a week or two, it pushes through that resistance it just felt. So probably going to end up getting that around 38.5. Once it gets up there, you'll probably get some a bit of a retreat off that level, and then later on it could just push through it, because there's some resistance levels between the gap fill and this and the price that it's at right now.
Okay.
Google broke 300. Oh, you mean is it like it got back over it? Because I thought it was over 300 at one point already. Oh, broke it to the downside. I see what you mean. So we lost this 20-day SMA on that, and it's been going lower ever since. I see support down around 292, and then the 50-day SMA beneath that. All right.
That kind of just goes with what we're seeing here out of the Nasdaq. Nasdaq's been pulling all morning. We talked about some of that rotation out of some of the chips like Nvidia. That's still continuing here.
Looks like YCBD just put in a new session high. It's trying to push higher. There's some sellers in the way from 240 to 250. Going to need to see some larger volume to get through those guys.
So new high there for YCBD. Let's see if some of the other cannabis names are doing something similar. Just looking at CGC here, this weaker than YCBD. I think you were right on that. That's probably the play of this whole cannabis news. Maybe MSOS.
Easy to move. Yeah, I like MSOS too, but the easier to move around names, the ones that have the lower floats, I think that you're going to see the better price action out of those.
And by the way, just from our recent conversation here, so far since the market has opened, the Kalshi marijuana prediction has not changed. That is still at 82 cents for yes.
DBVP, this one I think we were looking at earlier this morning as well. Went all the way down to the 200 EMA and big reversal, took it right back up to the VWAP. Hasn't been able to recapture it yet, but it's not a big reversal here. I don't know if we're going to end up seeing this trade above it and go to new session highs, which currently it's 26.19. But nice support coming by the 200 EMA there on the 5-minute.
Now remember, this is the one we can't buy.
And that's right. Sorry. PCSA, that Halt Fest unhalted, went higher, and it's actually right at the very next resistance area I was talking about, the 595 resistance area. We're at 594.
This was open once again for a whopping 17 seconds.
Yeah. So here's some other upside levels if this keeps going. 635 is the next one I have, and then 715. Don't know if it's going to provide resistance. Don't know if we're just going to break through them, but these are all the levels that I've had. We've traded this before. I kept my levels on here. I have levels going all the way up to over $10. So as long as they
More.
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No,
I was
finish.
going to say, as long as this keeps climbing, I'll just keep telling you what those levels are.
Tesla here, more call sweeps. This is exactly what we saw yesterday. This to me sure looks like this is going to try and print 500 here. Let me see if I can pull that tweet from yesterday. Just take me a second here. Sorry about that.
No worries. Just waiting for something to happen here. Looks like MSOS is losing the 65 EMA. That flies in the face of what YCBD is doing, which is climbing.
Sorry, I found another tweet here on Tesla that's rather amusing. Won't go into it though.
HUT getting some support from the 65 EMA and now the VWAP as well, trying to recapture some levels in the pre-market. Resistance I can see at about $45 even. If it can get through 44.25, I think that 45 evens next.
Here was the tweet that I was referencing earlier. This is Kip Heriage. The new Tesla rumor is that Musk is going to grant Tesla shareholders access to pre-IPO SpaceX shares. He's hinted at this in the past, so there might actually be something to it. This now, Tesla obviously has had a great couple of days here with hitting fresh all-time highs. Part of me wonders if this is kind of affecting that. But that's the tweet that I was referencing earlier. Wiss saying, Ryan, are you looking to swing any weed trades into the signing? Yes, I have CGC. It's not a big trade, so I'm not going to become wealthy from it. I don't have the conviction on that for that right now. But yes, I am holding CGC. And unless this thing just moons today, Wiss, I'm absolutely keeping that for the signing tomorrow. Yes.
Looks like YCBD is pulling back just a little bit. It's still, a decent distance away from VWAP, but I think this may come in just a little bit more as it sets up to push through the 246 high that it just made. Volume does seem to be creeping down a little bit, but it's still getting some decent amount in pockets here. So don't know if this is quite done yet, but it's still making some moves. RX, this looks like this is either going to roll over if it can't hold a recapture VWAP, or this is going to this is just setting up for another upside move that's going to finally get it through the 487 high.
That was RX, right?
Yeah.
What is going on? Here is your RX chart. Wow, what a move up to 65 EMA.
Yeah. Yeah, I got that support earlier in the morning and just hasn't really been back there since.
Smita was asking earlier about CoreWeave, asking, is there any news dragging this down? CoreWeave down by about 3.68%, although it does look like it's trying to bounce off of 66. That's what I thought. This level here was an important level from the last time that this really sold off. It looks like this 65 to 66 area represented the support. Looks like that's getting tested here again. 13, I don't know what you feel about this daily chart, but to me, it looks like this is kind of heavy and might end up rolling lower.
I'm going to switch over to that. I was just taking a look at HUT.
Okay.
That's trying to push higher, but let's take a look at CoreWeave.
And then as far as news here, I don't see anything specific to CoreWeave. Yesterday morning, it got its price target lowered from 120 to 92. But otherwise, I don't see any news that's necessarily affecting this today. I think it's trading with the rest of the market and what's going on here.
I'm just looking up something here.
Joe saying all these data center plays are in bad shape now. This was, this was part of what when you have this huge run where it moves so high, so fast, even a little bit of a pullback like this is something normal. So I'm not ready to close the book on the data center theme yet, but a little bit of a pullback here, probably not the end of the world.
So for CoreWeave, here's a trend line that I've got out here. It's also trading it within a downward channel right now, but I'm gonna have you draw a trend line here that I've been keeping an eye on since we hit that all-time high in the stock. So on June 20th, take a trend line from the high there, drop through the high of August 12th, and just keep it going. And you'll see that in November, we were getting support from this trend line. We started to rise off of it, but now we're headed back towards it. I still think this trend line's in play. Yeah, that looks a lot like that. I think it's still in play. So if this continues lower and comes down to the trend line, that's looking like it's going to provide some support, possibly around, and somewhere between 50 and 51, maybe $52. But it still looks like it could have some more downside. So that's what that's the trend line I'd be keeping an eye on.
Lion likes dollar cost averaging here
For CoreWeave.
On CoreWeave. Yep.
Yeah, if this is a company that you believe is going to do well in the future, and then sure, dollar cost average into your trade. Or I don't think it'd be a trade. I don't like to dollar cost average into trades that much. I like to do it with investments.
Yeah, something that you have a long time horizon on. By the way, CORZ, also I'm seeing some put sweeps come across the wire. This chart also looks very similar to CoreWeave.
Amazon reversing, turning back up here, recapturing VWAP. RX, that might also be turning back up here.
Is Amazon a buy here, Izzy?
HUT also higher, getting some recovery in some of these names. Beat tanking a full dollar. Are you saying it's getting beat down?
That was an easy one.
Yeah, it was. Thanks for the ticker beat. So, I mean, this thing has been on a really nice run. It got pretty extended on the daily chart with an RSI yesterday of 84. So, and then it hit $4 this morning. That's, looking back in previous years, that's been a support and resistance area. So, not surprising to see this come back. I would say that if this continues lower, it looks to me like 280, 285 could be a support area. So that's obviously under 3, and we're still a little ways away from there. But that's where I see some support just in the from the most recent price action. There might be some other support coming a little bit earlier. Maybe the $3 psychological level provides support, but I think the real strong amount is going to be down underneath at around 280, 285.
CGC still holding above 2. Giddy up. MSOS, this is actually still holding up 2. These actually, the CGC pullback looks actually not bad for trading here. MSOS, I'd really like to see this get back above 7.
What's the volume look like today for the SPY? It seems like it's okay. We had a really good amount of volume yesterday.
On MSOS?
No, it was in the broader market.
Yeah, it actually was a little bit higher yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if that's like preparation for the truncated holiday week next week almost.
Here we go with MSOS. This is trying to turn back up. Just recapture the 65 EMA. Let's see if it can go on to recapture the VWAP as well.
One of our other movers that we were talking about earlier, UDMY, so far disappointing, but this might be a candidate for just kind of keeping on your radar. It looked like it was going to try and trade back up through the VWAP. I actually tried to trade that there, but it was basically a trade for flat. I think I made 3 cents on it, which was nothing. In any case, this hasn't really shown signs like it's going to go yet. Might be one to keep on the back burner and wait for some volume to flow into that.
Yeah, I think this is the way the chart looks right now out of the open. It doesn't look that great. It needs to recapture. It needs to recapture VWAP. Yeah. If we can start closing above VWAP, consistently for 10, 15 minutes, that might be better. But there is some resistance up around $6.95, $7 that could keep it from going a whole lot higher, even if it does recapture VWAP. To me, this looks like it's going to be going lower. So watch for a loss of 675. I think that's your next area of support, as indicated by the price action we've had in the regular session here. If we do end up losing that level, 650 is going to be another one below, as well as somewhere down between 630 and 640.
Remember, I told you earlier, Waller was going to be talking here. Looks like we're getting some comments there. Let me read them to you here. S&P is trying to bounce, maybe on the back of this. Fed Waller says Fed is 50 to 100 basis points above neutral. Says that the job market says the Fed should continue to cut rates. Says we are not seeing a job market go off of a cliff. Says rate cuts have helped the job market. Says the job market is very soft. Current payroll growth is not good. Fed Waller says reserves pretty close to ample. Says easier regulations could allow for smaller Fed balance sheet. Fed Waller says he doesn't see a lot of downside risks for tariffs. Says inflation is under control and will make sure to keep it under control. Tariffs are not a persistent source of inflation. Fed Waller doesn't expect to see more big increases in tariffs. Can't say what impact the Supreme Court tariff ruling will have. I know we're kind of waiting on that one. So there are some of your comments there out of Waller. Market is trading up off the lows, but and it's actually right at unchanged here. So SPY is up by 0.04%.
Nice to hear some of these Fed members starting to talk about what I've been talking about for the past 2 years.
It's almost like you should be on the Fed. I would vote for you to go to the Fed. I know you don't want to do that. You have a life you enjoy. I know.
I don't, I'd rather be on social media than do that.
But now that is saying something.
Yeah.
That is saying something, folks.
Great mention here on PCSA. This went right to the next resistance area I had. I was mentioning 715. We're at 718. Next one that we have, or is that what I said it was? I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, 715.
Check this out. It was over 22 seconds this time.
Oh,
5 seconds more than the last 2 times.
And then the next area, if this opens and climbs higher, you have 815 and then 905 right after that. So we'll see what happens here. We did get to 992 in the pre-market. Not off the table yet, anyway. Looks like some of these marijuana names are going sideways. Looks like
getting faded.
Yeah, looks like Beat got some support down around 323. This is trying to turn around. It's in the process of recapturing the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. ADTX, this thing lost the 200 EMA. The moving average, it was getting support all morning. So this is looking ugly now to me.
I like this, Carlos. 13. Are you still holding you?
U is going to be a long-term
investment, I think. Yeah.
I don't even know what that's at today, but if it goes lower, this is what I'm dollar cost averaging down on. If it starts going underneath my my cost, because I do like the identity verification theme.
So do I.
Going in the next year. So, and we still don't have a figure attached to that CMS contract. So I think that's still super interesting. And if they're going to be the ones that's going to provide the identity verification for using their website and other services, I think that's going to be huge for this company. So we'll see. But yes, I do still own it. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Looks like Amazon's still in recovery mode here. It's trying to hold above VWAP, getting some resistance from the 15 EMA. Okay, it just went beneath VWAP, but it's also above 200 EMA. Looks like it's just trying to set up to go higher, although I'm not sure about these upper shadows it's getting over the past 15 minutes.
BMNR here, this is actually popping a little bit. Looks like it's kind of flirting with 32. This seems to be a level that had been suppressing it going back to Monday when we ended up losing it. So maybe BMNR here. And I believe with Jeremy, was it you? Someone was asking about Ethereum earlier. It flashed by and we were in the middle of something, so I couldn't go to it. But obviously Ethereum connected here to BMNR. Let's take a look and see what we can do here for Ethereum. Oh, that's not it. USD. Here's your Ethereum chart. So you were asking earlier if we thought this was in a downward channel. Sure looks like it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Sure looks like this is kind of a steep channel. And it's also worth noting that the top of this channel was the double top that Ethereum made back from 2021 to now. Yeah, it was you, Jeremy. Okay, I did remember. Yes, I have it in a downward channel. Jeremy, looking at the chart here, I would say that is exactly what's going on. Let me see if I can draw this out for you.
We had PCSA open, trade down to the VWAP and rebound, and now then it halted up again. It didn't get quite to that next resistance area at 815, but we are at 791, so not too far away.
Here is the downward channel, Jeremy. See it clear as day. Clear as day. All right, your RX so far is holding the VWAP. That actually looks like it wanted to try and maybe go back towards those highs. Doesn't have the strength to do it now. UDMY, another one of our movers, not firming up. Actually, looks like this might hunt lower here. Here's your PCSA that you were talking about, still in that upside halt at 791. Several of you folks mentioning Netflix. Remember, we've been talking about Netflix all day. What?
RXRX. It just got a nice move off of the VWAP. It's been getting support from the VWAP, but this candle right here looked pretty good. There's a seller in the way at 480. There's a lot of sellers up above 480, but if we get this volume expansion, we could move through those. That's the one component I think we need to see more of here in order to get above 480 and maybe even go on to 5.
Okay, we'll see if we get above that 480 there. I'm looking at it here in my broker, and I see some pretty big size there on the offer, so we'll see if it's got the strength to do it. Netflix here, though, sure seems like Netflix has some strength on the back of this Warner Brothers Discovery deal, which also seems to be moving towards a final here, or moving towards finalization. So Netflix pretty good here, still sub 100. God, this does look like it wants to curl back up. I feel you on this one for those of you that want Netflix.
Yeah, I think for me, the big question mark is going to be a recapture of 100. And if that happens, then I want to see a recapture of the 20-day SMA. Because if that doesn't happen, I think those could be the two rejection sites that could send the price lower. I still have concerns about the recent death cross that we had earlier this month. Yeah, we haven't had any event like that in over 2 years.
RXRX just went through 480, by the way. I know we just talked about that a second ago. It looks like it just took that. It's not really continuing to push here. We want to see it get above those highs. I've got that high up here, 487, but 480 down now, RXRX.
Yeah, so I still would need to see some recovery in Netflix. It's encouraging that it's trying to turn back up.
Yeah, it is.
Those two levels I mentioned need to get above those, or else I think we go lower.
Yeah, I'm with you there on the $100 level. I think I like that here too. Joe here saying PreMarket is at 98% for the Bank of Japan rate hike tomorrow. Let me ask you, how much? What, 80% for just any hike, or 80% for like 25 basis points or 50 basis points? Let me know. Remember, the last note that I had for you folks on the Bank of Japan, and I don't consider myself an expert here. I learned from Tom, who's in our happy hour session, and 13. You guys go back and forth discussing this all the time. I certainly don't consider myself an expert. But one of the pieces, one of the things I took note of here, if the Bank of Japan raises rates more aggressively than the modest 0.25% expected, or if other central banks cut faster than anticipated, we could see the acceleration of the unwind that we've been talking about. So to follow that up, I want to know, is PreMarket saying that, hey, they're going for that 25 basis point cut, or might it be more than that? And remember, the second part of this, if other banks are cutting faster than anticipated, well, that's not what happened with ours. We got exactly what was anticipated, despite someone dissenting and saying that they wanted more than that. So we're actually not seeing the conditions that are outlined here for an acceleration of that carry unwind.
iRobot, you guys were mentioning it earlier, that recaptured $1, but it's coming up to some a bit of a supply zone from a couple days ago in the after hours. If you look at a smaller time frame, you can see in the after hours on the 15th, this had a lot of sideways price action. I think that's going to be a bit of a blockade, that supply zone there. So going to need to see some really big volume in order to get through that, in my opinion.
And it looks like the top end of that's 120. And to your point about really big volume, we actually are seeing some pretty big volume already, and it still hasn't moved through that level.
Right.
Joe here, that 25 basis point hike is what that poly market is. That's in line. That's in line. I don't think that there's anything to take away from that. Obviously, we have to see what the bank actually does first.
So a lot of sideways. Oh, here we go. PCSA is open again, trying to get through that 815 resistance area. It just printed above it. Lots of whipping around here, trying to get through 850.
I have not tried to buy this in my broker, so I don't know if this stock is buyable. Were you able to, 13?
I'm not trying this thing.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna just making sure there.
I think that the time to jump into this thing was, at the open. I don't want to be chasing multi halts to the upside because you'll get a halt like one right now.
Yeah. And is this going to be our downside halt here?
We'll see. I mean, it's still above VWAP. It could be one of those situations where we open lower and then it just recaptures it. I don't know what the price action is going to be like after this halt, but this might be one of a few downside moves, or it could just be a brief stop before going higher. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. RXRX, on the other hand, this is giving us a bit of an answer as to where it wants to go. We did get above that 480. Next areas that have a lot of sellers is going to be 485 and a really big seller at 490. Beat still trying to recapture the 200 EMA on the 5 minutes. ADTX that's trying to do the same thing. I don't have a whole lot of confidence in the way this is trying to push higher, but it has a bunch of upper shadows indicating that the sellers are still trying to put downward pressure on this one.
Bob here saying, I got in and out of PCSA. Nice win. Congrats, Bob. You'll get a register ring for that. Let me ask you, what's your broker, just in case some brokers do not allow the purchasing of that stock? Hood here. Nice little dip and rip for those that you were buying Hood right out of the open. It's actually a nice little 4-point move.
Lots of sideways action here. YCBD trading under the VWAP right now, trying to recapture it, but MACD is indicating that this might roll over and see some more momentum to the downside.
Fidelity. Thank you, Bob. Okay, so Fidelity is allowing purchases of that. Good to know. And Jay saying, I'm adding Boeing to the list of stocks that had a shitty 2025.
And that could be, I think Boeing could be a good one for next year. You're going to start getting a big ramp up in the production of the F-47. That should be a big tailwind for them. Drones, underwater drones. I think that they're going to end up doing pretty well. I don't have a whole lot of conviction on their space side anymore. I think they're going to do better for the military and the commercial aircraft. Nice job, Bob. If you guys made some money in the PCSA Halt Fest, well done.
Yeah. Well done. I love when the gunslingers actually make the money off of it. That is awesome. That is awesome. YCBD, this is still holding above its VWAP. Actually, looks like it might make a run back towards 250.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. Got to get it back above that VWAP.
Look at Chipotle, the noob. The noob out here just getting it done for Chipotle. We took 37 back. Remember, gap fill up there at 39.
Yep, and just keep an eye out for resistance around 38.50. PCSA support at 641. Did it do a 1 for 25? I don't know. Let's take a look here and see if that's the case.
While you're doing that here, CoreWeave so far has held 66. I know it's still down about 4% here. I am seeing some call flow into CoreWeave here, and it's doing a decent job holding that support area. Here's PCSA 13.
It did a 1 for 25 on Monday, the 15th.
So this is a recent reverse splitter then.
Yeah, looks like that's a fact. That was when it was announced. It looks like it was recorded today. So today is when the split took effect.
RXRX, folks, we just got the pop. That, I tell you what, that 480 level that we outlined, Boom. We traded above that, held above that. Now we got some more volume flow. This actually took us to 491. I see some pretty big seller there on the ask at 490. We'll see if that gets taken.
Yeah, it was much bigger earlier. That guy got taken out. The next big, really big section of sellers is going to be at $5 even. You do have some sellers on the way up, but that's where the large chunk is at $5.
And they actually just took a huge chunk of that seller at 490 that I was just referencing. Jeremy says, I'm already done with YCBD. I took my profits and ran. Well, you get a register ring for that, Jeremy. Great job.
Yeah, because it started losing the VWAP. It's the MACD's indicating this could roll over and potentially go lower. Don't know if this is going to be finished for the day, but for the time being, at least in the morning, it's looking like it's ending its run.
492 up now. RX.
Oracle just busted under 180. You see a gap fill near 176 as Greg Bauer. You know what? Let me look at that because I think that's getting closer to where we want it to be.
He's right. That's almost right. Did it actually fill that? I see a gap fill near 176. I've got this at 177-ish. I'm eyeballing it though.
If you're looking at the wick, it filled. If you're looking at the real body, I don't think it quite got there yet. But
take care of yourself, Brent. Good stuff there. Enjoy your workout, man. Get that mind right.
Yep. Take care, Brent. Great job. Great job today, man. Oracle, it's still trading down within that falling wedge. So let's go ahead and do your thing, Oracle. Go ahead and just keep on going down. Give us a much better price. Who cares if Blue Owl doesn't want to shell out $10 billion? Well, RXRX still pushing higher, looking for 5. It has some support underneath it now to 495. Let's see if this pushes through.
Yeah, that was nice. I'm disappointed it didn't take that one. I don't feel great about buying breakouts, but this one was pretty good. RXRX working here.
Yeah, and maybe it hits 5 and then comes back in a little bit. Great to see some of this price action working out, even though if it is a little bit slow,
Bitcoin, by the way, during all of this, Bitcoin has recaptured 90K. I know there were some folks waiting on that to really sell off to like 75 for a possible reload. 90K recaptured here this morning. We'll see if it holds.
Well, let's look at a daily chart and see what this is telling us. I mean, it just doesn't look like we're recovering quite yet on the daily chart. I mean, there's still some levels we need to get back above, but this is nice. I think. Now, what
level do you have? 92? 93?
For resistance?
Yeah. What level do you have there on Bitcoin? What's the next level higher here? You have?
Let's see. I have a line that I've had out here for a long time at 93.5.
Okay, 93.
I like 94 a little bit better.
Okay,
but
I thought you had a level that you did like there in the low 90s, so that tracks.
Yeah, it's just I think it's better to be cautious about this move in Bitcoin going into the Bank of Japan rate decision. You got to look at the history of their rate decisions and coinciding with Bitcoin's price action. I think if they raise, that could lead to some Bitcoin selling further. We'll see.
Now, if they raise the anticipated quarter point, or if they raise more than that, or just if they raise it all?
If they raise it all.
Okay. So any raise then represents a move down in Bitcoin for you.
And the size that they raise it to is going to be a measure of just how much Bitcoin could end up going down. We'll see if that ends up happening. I just there's something to keep in mind. I don't want anybody getting trapped in this upward Bitcoin movement because it seems like it's setting up to do exactly that.
Yeah, so Joe here saying, Ryan, do you think that Bank of Japan hike of 25 bips is baked in already? I don't like the crypto pump right before that news there.
I'm right there with you.
So this is a good question. I'll be honest, I would have to say that I don't follow the Japanese markets to give you anything better than my best guess. My best guess is that if I'm able to track some of this information down, not being an expert on it, the market's probably already sniffed it out, and that probably is already baked in. But to 13's larger point here, if you think a hike represents a possible headwind for Bitcoin, I don't think I like this move up, right? But it's almost like akin to like running up into earnings, which we've seen has not been great for some of those companies that are reporting earnings. So I think I'm probably on 13's side here. But I do agree. My best guess, I would say, is that 25 bips is baked in. Yeah.
And if you have a different thought on how this is all going to work out with the Bank of Japan's rate decision, don't let me stop you from trading how you want to trade. I don't like this action going into that decision.
Yeah. And Jay, regarding Pi, ticker PI, up 6.3% here. It's up, 10 plus points. No idea why. I'm looking at the news feed here, Jay. We got Barclays keeping their buy rating. That was news yesterday early. So I don't think I see any fresh news from today either, to be quite honest with you, on PI, ticker PI.
Let me see if I can figure anything out here. It's kind of interesting because this is, I guess, a little bit into the identity verification theme, but it's more of identifying and authenticating devices.
Dan Niles likes it. Okay.
Yeah, so just at a snapshot look at this, it seems like this could be part of the identity verification theme.
I almost think it would be, right, 13? Yeah. Maybe it doesn't do that itself, but it looks like it's allowing devices that are registered to access different networks. I mean, to me, I would say that this probably goes into that theme. Pi.
The price action lately has been pretty interesting. It seems like there's potentially a double bottom courtesy of the 500-day SMA. It's coming up to the 50-day SMA. If we recapture that, we'll be over 180, and I think this could end up having legs. I think the thing that concerns me though is what's the deal with Daniel Patrick Gibson selling a huge amount earlier this week. He sold over 280,000 shares at a $150 price. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yep.
But Barclays gave it a buy rating, so there you are. Float's 15 million. That's pretty low. And it's got some decent short interest. Maybe there's a combination of things happening here. As a matter of fact, that short interest is right in our parameters. 19% of the float shorted with almost 6 days to cover.
175 looks to be like the next clear resistance here on Pi.
It's interesting.
By the way, does anyone have any crazy ability to memorize Pi decimal points or digits to the right of the decimal in Pi? Like, can anyone get to the Feynman point by chance?
I can't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone can. The Feynman point is like 670 digits to the right of the decimal. It's where the first 6 consecutive nines appear in the sequence.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, I know some people can get like 10, 20, 30 digits on Pi memorized. Let me know. And if anyone can get to the Feynman point, I'm going to need you to prove that. In any case,
people like that memorize every password they have.
Which to me would drive me insane. I've told the story before. I have my VIN number from my Trans Am. I have memorized. The only reason that happened is because I was buying so many performance parts that when I was going to the website, I had to keep entering it over and over and over again, or giving it to the sales guy over the phone. So I just happened to memorize it. But Webcoin can remember apple pie. Okay, that's good. I mean, apple pie is really good. What can I say? Apple pie is really good.
Yeah. What if Apple collaborates with this company? Is that going to be the Apple Pie partnership?
Oh, there you go. We need that to happen. Somehow we need that to happen. Netflix, by the way, I know we talked about this. This looks like this is stalling just shy of 100 here. Seeing some put sweeps in here. Not sure how much I would necessarily take for this 100K trade here. But this goes out to the middle of the year next year.
Yeah, remember when we used to remember all of our friends' phone numbers? Well, actually, I
Dude.
ended up writing them down because there was a while there was a lot to remember, and sometimes it kept changing.
Stay focused, and Russ, want to know about my Trans Am, dude? Yes. So I had a silver 1998 Trans Am with T-tops. I think those T-tops spent more time in the rack in the trunk than they did on the top of the car. Loved it so much. Loved it so much. I yanked the engine out the top when you're not supposed to. You're supposed to take it out the bottom, but I didn't have a lift. I rebuilt the entire drivetrain. I put an aggressive cam in there. It sounded like a boat when you started it up. Ported my own heads, full exhaust. Car ran 11 nines in the quarter. That was that car, man. That was my baby for a long time. Missed that car.
Zeslia, if you're saying salutations, have a good one.
Go long now. That sounds almost like that almost sounds pumpy. He threw the hearts in there so that he wouldn't get yelled at, I think.
Yeah, we do have the November CPI data tomorrow. That's important to keep an eye on. I don't think we've had some of that data in a while.
Stay focused, asking Ryan, why did you sell that car? Because I have always been, I don't view myself as wealthy enough or have the utility for having two cars. So my car always has to be a daily driver, which means if you're going to build the thing up into a track monster, there are compromises you're going to have to make. And someone that lived in Chicago, a rear wheel drive 500 horsepower American muscle car is not easy to get around in the snow. Let's actually see if we can find a picture of it real quick.
I got a good little story for you. By the way, PCSA that is open again. It's trading above the 815 level. It's losing it now, coming back down to VWAP. This thing's all over the place, but yeah, here we are trading. Putting in some new highs, trying to get up to the 905 area. But anyway, the story is that when my wife went to her conference over in the UK earlier this month and last month, she met a guy that had made an AI just like the Knight Rider AI, and he put it in
the car would like talk to. Oh,
yes.
What a cool idea!
He did that, and I was like, why is he not going to Universal Studios and trying to sell that? Because that would be awesome to be able to just go up to the car and start talking, because they have it there at Universal Studios. So I thought that was awesome. So he can talk to his car via AI.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. All right, let's see if we can find my car. 2G2 FV22 G9 W2215079. That is the VIN number for my 1998 Trans Am. Let's see if we can find it.
This is the longest I think PCSA has gone without halting this morning.
I don't see it in these pictures here. See a lot of wrecked cars here. 2G2 FV22 G9 W2215079. That's it. Sorry, guys. Don't see it. I thought for sure the VIN number would help find that, but nope. I'll see if I can find pictures of my old one. We'll show it to you someday. That was a fun car, though. Okay. Ryan, Tua benched for viewers. Yeah, not surprised. Like I said, you buy enough performance parts, you'll memorize something. Ed there says Michael Saylor is working with one of the big banks to loan Bitcoin. Wasn't that JP Morgan? Didn't he post a picture of being in the JP Morgan lobby overlooking Central Park? Pretty sure that was JP Morgan. By the way, here's strategy. How is this done over the past? Okay, this is still kind of coming down, right? Yeah, okay. So it looks like this is holding that 160 area.
Let's hope that's not the case, Crib Biscuit. Oh, man. Your car's
been cute. I think it has. No, I think he might be correct. Because the guy that bought it from me he told me, he was like, first of all, I actually spun a main engine bearing. So I sold a car with a blown motor for like $4,000. So I actually think I got out of that okay. But in any case, he said he was going to build it up with a bunch of nitrous and he was going to put slicks on it and stuff. So I don't think that car probably doesn't exist anymore, to be honest. It was a really good car to me, though.
And if it does, it's completely different now.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right. MicroStrategy. I am curious if anyone thinks that that's a buy at some point. Oh, and look what happened with RZLV here today. Went right to the trend line and then slapped. Just absolutely slapped.
What's this one went down on? Probably, well, it was, it was trading into an ascending triangle, I guess, intraday. 200-day SMA also providing some resistance as well, as was the 350 level. So I guess Resolve AI is not resolving higher quite yet. And that 50-day SMA is going to be a problem. Okay, let's see what's looking good here. Don't know if I have high expectations right now for the market. It's feeling a little bit slow. Bitcoin still.
I don't see anything great.
RXRX, that's been tapping the door to $5 for the past 15 minutes. I think it's going to have to make a move through pretty soon, or else we're going lower. PCSA also going sideways. Lots of sideways price action here. Okay. Amazon starting to get a pull off the 65 EMA, moving down towards VWAP and the 200 EMA.
Oops. I clicked on the wrong ticker there. Here's HUT. That was one of the movers earlier. Don't see anything going on there. ADTX not doing a whole lot. Bummer. It really seems like to slow down here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We have come down to a crawl. MSOS now putting in some new session lows. There might be some support coming pretty soon as we are coming down to the highs from yesterday. And that's going to be at about 665. May have just barely touched that. Looks like we did by a couple cents.
Jay mentioning Broadcom and Oracle have been dragging down the queue since earnings. There's got to be a bounce coming pretty soon, don't you think, Jay? Wonder if we get that as we close out the year here. SPY, by the way, at the lows, same with the NASDAQ. SPY, we talked about it losing 680 here, really made an attempt to recapture it and couldn't. It looks like more lows coming here on the market. S&P futures actually at the lows as we speak. Let me see if there was maybe more Fed speak coming out.
Broadcom could probably still end up going lower. I mean, we could end up just completely gap filling. Going under 300, I'm not sure I'm there on that yet, but I think we could end up gap filling. Market slammed, yeah. It's a lot of concerns going on around the market right now.
Yeah, I don't see any other news flow that would necessarily be attributing to the move down that we're seeing right now. Might just kind of be carry through.
Amazon really falling after losing the 200 EMA on the 5-minute.
Hey, I will say, I asked Izzy earlier when Amazon was first moving to the lows if this was a buy. He said no. And so Amazon, I know it tried to bounce there. So maybe if you were quick, you'd have been able to trade that. But this now rolling back over to the lows there. Izzy, that looks like that was a good call on Amazon. Not today. Not today.
That's a pretty big difference in the gasoline inventories build versus the estimate. It's over double what the estimate was. That's interesting. Just looking to see if there's any. I'm just trying to look and see if there's any news that's causing this market movement.
RXRX, this has been of all of the movers here. I know PCSA is doing its little halt thing. Of all of the movers here, RXRX probably one of the best one. 5 tests coming right here.
Actually, we just moved through 5 and retreated. 501 is a current session high. The next big area of the sellers is now up at 505. That area where they were at 5 is much, much smaller now. And here's YCBD coming in. PCSA still going sideways, but it's starting to look a little weak. Looks like Beat has found some support, trying to turn back up. It's got a lot of levels to recapture, but it seems like momentum might be swinging back towards the upside. I think we'll know in another 10, 15 minutes. ADTX catching a bid here. It's lifting it back up towards the 200 EMA. I don't think you're wrong about that, Joe. I think that there's a little bit less of an appetite here to pick some things up ahead of this economic data that we're getting and these and the BOJ rate decision. Still seems like we could head lower, and then following those, maybe the market starts to get some strength again.
Real quickly here, just as kind of an aside, I am sorry that I was unable to find the pictures for the car. I thought for sure the VIN would be enough, but just in case you thought I was lying about the VIN number, I wasn't. And I can recite this for you anytime that you want. It is absolutely, I still can't believe I have the VIN memorized from a car that was made in 1998, but there it is. Pontiac Trans Am. Miss it.
I mean, Jay, they're pretty much like the majority of the S&P 500 at this point. A handful of, we've talked about this a lot, a handful of stocks, the ones you're mentioning, are the ones that are really lifting the market. And when they sell off, man, the market really does come down. But I think those names, those sectors that have been talking about for some time now going into next year, I think those are going to be much better. As tech weakens, you're going to see some of the more consumer-facing names and stocks do well. So that's why I like Dollar General. It's why I like some of these apparel companies. Consumer staples, consumer discretionary, healthcare. I think those are good names or good sectors to watch for next year.
And here you go. By the way, using Pro here, I'm scanning for all S&P 500 or SPY holdings here. The stock in the SPY stock that is down the most month to date, Broadcom. AVGO down 16.9%. AutoZone is next, interestingly enough, and Lennar, which reported earnings last night, is after that. Oracle is the sixth stock down the list. So to your point about Oracle and Broadcom dragging down the indices, we can see it clear as day here, just by looking at what interestingly enough, Netflix is down near the bottom of that list. Ryan, say it backwards, bro. I can't say the alphabet backwards. How am I going to say a VIN number backwards?
I have not really seen anything that looks interesting at the moment.
RX was it. That VWAP pullback earlier, that was a really good trade. Otherwise, there hasn't really been a whole lot. I mean, Tesla, I know that tried to trade up here. That gave everything back and went red.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah. How's the volume doing? 30. Sorry, I interrupted you again.
PCSA is looking weak too. I mean, it's going sideways, and MACD is starting to show the momentum swinging to the downside, but it's still above VWAP for the time being. So we'll see what happens here with PCSA, but it feels like the whole market's just really experiencing some weakness right now. Matter of fact, look at the SPY. SPY is just kind of plummeting.
Better. We've been talking about Netflix literally all morning. In fact, it was one of the, I think it was like the third or the fourth stock that I talked about here today. Judge, take care of yourself.
Take care, Judge.
Wisdom is asking if anyone from Kentucky is here. I actually, one of the pro members reached out to me earlier this week and asked if I knew anybody in the Pittsburgh area that was a Benzinga Pro subscriber. I don't think I do. Let me know if you're in the Pittsburgh area.
SPY is coming down to, toward the area where it got support yesterday near the 50-day SMA. That's
676, yeah.
I think, 676, 675, I think is where I'm going to be in that range, of that dollar range. I think is where I'd be looking at for support. And if we don't get it, and we start losing the 50-day SMA, then the next support that I have is not too far away, but it's going to be about 73.94. A lot of previous all-time highs in this area, so we could get some support just underneath the 50-day SMA and then recapture it. But I haven't seen any support kicking quite yet.
Brian says, I love the Berg. I'm from there. Kelvin Mahalo says he's from Kentucky. So there you go. Matchmaking here on PreMarket Playbook.
David asking if any of us think that there's going to be a Santa Claus rally.
He actually said Santee, but he meant Santa.
You're right. We're thinking that, it looks like from the discussions we've been having in Happy Hour that there very well might be, but it's not going to be until after, or maybe just before the holiday, but after Christmas is when they typically happen. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of hedging against the Santa Claus rally. It's one of the discussions we were having. So unless that's changed, still it seems like it's going to happen.
David gets a 1-up because he mentioned Home Alone, and that's where Santee came from. And now the circle is complete. So you get a 1-up for that.
It's Creole.
just throwing it out there. Yeah, so I do think that there will be one, but that's just because I'm basically looking at the odds, and it's like 80% that it happens. We did not get one last year, by the way, so maybe we're due.
Maybe. PCSA, this looks like it's about to be halted to the downside, and there it is, halted. Lost VWAP.
Which one? PCSA? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The halt fest this morning, and I think that back and forth consolidation was telling you that this was potentially coming. And if we unhalt here, we're going to want to use the levels we were using on the way up. Support to the downside would be 635 next, or that 650 area where it was getting support on the way up. Right in there.
Palantir, another leg lower here. That's one of the weaker stocks. Bitcoin, although it recaptured 90, it very quickly gave it up back down here at 88. Tesla, that went red.
And, we were also
back off this pump. Sorry, 13.
We were also talking about some potential headwinds going into next year. Right in the month of January, we're going to have the next earnings season. That starts at about the middle of the month. And if there's no deal between both parties in Congress to get the bill signed, the 2026 fiscal year budget or a continuing resolution, then the government could end up shutting down again at the end of January, and that would lead into some more problems for February. So maybe there's a bit of a Santa Claus rally, and then there could be some pain next year, early in Q1.
I just, on the other side of that, Hassett was asked if there was really a chance of another government shutdown at the beginning of the year. He said no. Take it with a grain of salt.
Okay. Hopefully he is right. Midterms loom. Yeah, that's going to be further down the road, but that is going to be a 2026 theme. Looks like Bitcoin is.
But that's also, really quickly, that's also one of the reasons I actually think that 2026 is going to end up being an all right year, because the people that are playing the politics game, they know that too. You would want the recency bias to be in favor when those midterms come around.
I feel like we're going to probably not have so much of a great year in the first part of 2026, but I think later on it's going to be a lot better. I'm
in the exact same page as you are on that 13. I think it might be a little hairy in the first quarter, but it's going to be all right in the second half of the year at least. Hades is asking, could we be seeing tax selling today and this week? So we talked about this at the end of November. Yes, you definitely can, but it seems to me, like talking to most people, that the tax selling was done near the end of November. Yeah. A lot of reason for that is because if you sell it and you wait your month and you rebuy it before the end of the year, you can avoid the wash sale rule there. And you can also still have it in the previous calendar year. So I would say maybe I would say my guess is a majority of the tax loss selling is done. You agree with that, 13?
I think everything you said is I agree with. That's what I think you're absolutely right. Especially with the wash sale rule, that's something we talked about. People are going to be selling so that they can buy it back, and after the wash sale rule is over, it's 30 days. Then they still have it for in 2025. They take it to the end of 2026. They get their long-term capital gains. I think that's what we are more likely seeing.
Okay.
2026 will make history. What kind of history?
Well, coming from wisdom, you're never really sure.
We'll see what ends up happening. Natural gas, the sector to work. I think natural gas is going to be good. I think that's an important sector for the whole data center build out and new energy production, the power plants, things like that. And it's part of my whole turbine thing. Don't know exactly the time to get it. I'm not really sure I'd be jumping into it quite yet. But I think it's going to be pretty good. I mean, you have to kind of look at some of the individual names. We can start with like Energy Transfer, for example.
I think, and really quickly while you're getting that, Frank, I don't know if Frank is still here. Frank was here earlier this morning. I'm pretty sure Frank is bullish on natural gas as well. Just as an aside, Frank, if you're still here. Sorry, 13, didn't mean to jump in there. And actually, I'm going to step away real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah. So the thing that I'm looking at here with the Energy Transfer is that it's down this year off the highs. It's been that way all year, and it looks like it could continue to go lower. So I think this will be a great buy at some point, but it just it's been bearish ever since we had I think the death cross back in May. We did print slightly above it, but then as soon as we lost that and started going lower, we continued lower. We're getting some support around 1625, but we've been getting support there for so long. I feel like the continued hammering of that level is just going to lead to further downside. So maybe under 15, some of these names are going to be really good, but I do like energy next year. There's that whole situation with refineries in California and Washington that's going to lead to higher fuel prices, but it also could lead to lower crude prices. Because I think that's going to end up being a situation where we have more oil production being done than refined fuels making it out. So that kind of bottlenecks the whole oil supply chain. And I think you're going to see potentially see a lot of full storage tanks for oil, midstreams full, maybe some full carriers, because the refining capacity is diminishing. And I think that's the big thing next year for oil. That's going to keep the price of oil lower, but refined fuel is going to be elevated.
Yeah, Kathy, you're right. GEV, indeed a tough day. It was doing its absolute best to hold on to the 680, but I think we're going to get one of the rare cases here where the floating island just doesn't hold up.
That's okay. If this goes lower, and that's fine.
Yeah, I just talked about this I know you have a longer term view here. I talked about this for a shorter term trade setup. Looks like we didn't get that.
Well, it's coming down to 625. I do like that area. Let's see what happens the rest of the day. I mean, this could come right back.
Always.
What's the news? They raised the price target. So Wells Fargo says it's worth 831, and this thing gets sank. Let's see. I really don't know. I really don't know what's pulling this down. Maybe it's this article. I don't know. It could just be like the whole broader market sentiment getting, that's been pulling it down with the delay on data center build out. This is one of those, because if you're going to be building data centers with their own power plants, you're going to need turbines that they make.
And market is still pulling here too. 675 our low. So it's been nothing but down here today, albeit on low volume.
Yep. Not worried. Got a longer term view on a lot of this stuff.
Same.
This just kind of needed to happen. Man, Bitcoin, just ugly price action. It went up
Bitcoin
to
gave everything back, bro.
Yeah, it gave everything back, and it looks like it could continue to give more back. 90,000 was a support and resistance level. We just barely traded above that before we lost it. So at least these levels are still behaving nicely. Let me look back at the broader market. Wow, I'm surprised at how fast this morning went. There's not a whole lot to look at, but there is apparently a lot to talk about.
Marianetta, we haven't talked about Micron yet because they report earnings today. We did mention it in the rundown this morning, the news rundown when the show first started that Micron was reporting. I think we took one look at it to see how it was trading out of the open. I can go back to that chart here. Here's really quickly before I do that, this is what I wanted to show on screen here for Bitcoin. The entire pop that we got that looked like it was going to take us out of this range. Look at this. We peaked above it, and it was just like, nope, we're not ready for that yet. Right back into where we're at. That's definitely not great action there for more upside. And that kind of leads me to believe that we probably see that 75 level, 75K, I should say, prior to really kind of breaking out. We'll see if we end up getting that.
Kind of wild. We were just talking about the Bank of Japan and the correlation to the Bitcoin price action, and how we thought that this could end up setting, a trap, or could potentially trap buyers of Bitcoin in this off the break decision. It looks like this is or maybe already starting to happen. We'll see if it can recover back up above 90. But man, this looks like it trapped a lot of people just now.
And here's your Micron chart. Now, what I will say here about Micron, as far as the earnings here, we talked a lot about stocks that run into earnings often don't outperform. We're getting the opposite here in Micron. Now, this has been on a huge run here this year, so I don't want to, I don't want to create any illusions here. But the last several sessions here, this thing has pulled back from 264 down here to 228. So maybe that'll help it here on Micron. Those earnings, again, set for reporting after hours today.
Yeah, it's coming right down to
looks really weak, though.
The 50-day SMA just beneath 225. That's the next support, I think. We lose that, then I'd say I don't know that we're going to necessarily go right to 200, but it seems like we are going to go under 210. That would make a little bit more sense to me.
Take care of yourself, Wisdom. It's always good to see you here.
Take care, Wisdom.
I got to meet this guy at some point. I feel like I'm going to have to go to Hawaii to meet him, which I don't know when the next time I'm going to do that is. But, man, we got to meet Wisdom.
Get your bong ready.
I mean, you can meet him without doing bong rips, that's for sure.
You won't have the Wisdom experience.
Well, Wisdom might have it for me.
Okay. Yeah, you're right, Joe.
I could just see, too, like, meet at a restaurant, he rolls up, he opens the door, and like Cheech and Chong, just billows of pot smoke come flying out of the door. That would be something. That would be, what an entrance. I'll try to video it if that's the case.
Yeah, you're probably right, Joe, that we could see a lot of those storage names come back in. I'm looking at WDC, that's coming into its 200-day SMA. STX, this is doing the same thing. So that's the next support for those two. 50-day SMA has been really helping continue to lift these data storage names higher. So I think if we start losing and closing multiple times underneath the 50-day SMA, that could be the signal that these are going lower.
Joe here, the name is Bong, James Bong. Wisdom,
right.
Is your name James Bong? Because if that's the case, that would be something else.
Double Bull 7. Double Bull 7.
Double Bull 7. James Bong, Double Bull 7. Okay, you guys, when the cannabis names are hot, the jokes really get turned up to 11 here on this program. I'm here for that. I'm here for that for sure. You guys are awesome. Oh, yeah, that's funny.
You're right thinking about it. I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but this has kind of been what we've been saying for a while now with these data center plays. This is a whole scheme that's essentially an upside down pyramid, and if you take one of those upside pieces in the upside down pyramid out, the whole thing kind of collapses. Not like a Jenga tower, but I mean like everything could come back in. Jenga towers can still somewhat hold themselves up depending on where you take that piece out. But an upside down pyramid, you take one piece out, the whole thing's done. So thoughts on Planet Labs? I mean, we're going to probably see this one come in as well as all the other space names.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, all the data center names look the same. PL are the space names coming in too. So it's just these momentum moves to the high. These are all basically pulling back. Kev, take care of yourself. Appreciate everything that you do.
Take care, Kevin. And look, folks, it's we were risk on earlier in the morning when Bitcoin was ripping, and as soon as it turned around and started going down, giving up everything, we became risk off. So all the riskier names, the drones, the nuclear, the space, the quantum, they're all going to see some pain with the Bitcoin turning down. Risk off. So that might mean that RGTZ might be doing pretty dang good. Look at it.
Wiz, take care of yourself, man. Really good stuff. As always.
Well, I'll tell you what, thinking about it, you go ahead and take that one. Just if you could put together a good set, use James Bond Double Bull 7, and then send me the video I want to watch.
Yeah, I want to see that too. I mean, that's almost too good. I can't believe that. I can't believe we came up with that here today. That's really good. Really good. Team effort there too.
Yep. Take care, Wes. Have a good one. Oracle now 177, and it could end up going lower too. Good. But Planet Labs, just to get put a bow on this, it's going to be great.
Gaps filled now in Oracle.
Risk is back on. I don't think it really belongs here up at this valuation yet. It might grow into that valuation. I mean, I still think that's the space theme is going to be pretty good when there's a little bit more of an appetite for risk. But also, let's see what happens with around the time of the next Starship launch, which is supposed to be next month. See if that gives a lift to some of these space names. You're wondering,
not a day to buy dips, it would seem.
Yeah. And Stay Focused asking if data centers are coming, or wondering if the data center coming back in because the first data center was launched in outer space, backed by NVIDIA. Well, I mean, if that's the case, then I think we would see these space names do better. And it looks like let me just pull this list up here because I think a lot of them are down right now. Oops, that's not the one.
I would imagine that if that's the case, if like they're all just going to go to space, that you just see each one fall in line with one another right after it.
The whole space theme is just red today. There's only a few that are green. It's Sirius XM and for some reason Virgin Galactic. Other than that, big red across the board for the space theme because risk is off, folks. Risk is off.
All right, 13. We're out of time here. We got to go to story trading. Closing words for the group.
Risk is off, folks. So
risk is off. Not a day to buy dips. That's
just be careful if you're going to be doing any trading here. Understand that the market's facing some downside pressure, so don't get caught in that. Look for your actual setups that work, or just sit on your hands if that thing looks good to you. Just don't be a hero and try to make a trade happen where there isn't one. All right, folks. So I'll see you everybody tomorrow. We'll have another good day. We'll talk more, maybe even make some more jokes. But until then, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.
All right, take care of yourself, 13. Good as always. 13's departure leaves room for the story trading guys. Let's bring them on and see how they're doing. We've got Ben, we've got Rhett here. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you doing?
We're doing really good. You guys both sound like you're kind of down. Is there anything I can do to cheer you up?
Yeah, you know what? 13 was hitting the right talking points about Oracle and Bitcoin, so we'll be talking about that. But
perfect.
This blindsided me because last night we had that news about Amazon and OpenAI, and I thought, great, that catalyst is enough to maybe now put the bottom in and get things turned around in big caps and QQQ and Oracle, Microsoft at all, the OpenAI complex stocks. And then this morning, we get that news that Oracle is unable to get that financing deal to build the data centers. And Ryan, I should have known when that came out. Actually, I bought Oracle in pre-market on the Amazon OpenAI news. And as soon as that came out, I sold for a loss. But I should have known when that came out that it was going to be a bloodbath for big cap AI. And that's the main thing that's going on here.
Well, Ben, it's okay to be wrong, but it's not okay to stay wrong. So good job running from it. I'm sure it'll be another setup coming there. Let's bring on the Godfather, and I'll get out of your guys' hair.
Yeah. All right.
All right. I'll see you in a bit.
Appreciate it.
So I mean, that's the story. It's let's look at the QQQ here. I thought there was a chance to get back above that with that positive Amazon OpenAI news, and then just blindsided this morning in pre-market on the Oracle news that they can't get the financing, And I believe, I don't know, Godfather, if you have a different take. I haven't looked at the news at all. I haven't had my X feed open at all day long. But I imagine that's what's going on. If Oracle can't get financing for this, it's it's let's take our profit in big cap tech, and it's a shame. Definitely blindsided me.
It's a buying opportunity, guys. So
Yeah,
the
buying
market's
opportunity.
Oracle is it is the canary in the coal mine right now, and people are super concerned. But look, the prevalence of AI spending isn't going anywhere. You just talk to anybody that's in the industry, and there will be parties that
well, I think
can't get financed.
acutely, the concern is that I think I don't know, man. I'm biased, as you know. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know. I ended up my biggest investment ever is actually in private shares of OpenAI. I love it. I love ChatGPT, and I made that investment before Gemini turned the corner, right? So, but I think the whole thesis is if OpenAI is driving a lot of this capex at a lot of different companies, and the hysteria and derangement almost that I see on X, I think is so overblown. I mean, it's like 100%.
Unless you own Oracle, you need to look at this as an opportunity, because look at the spillover into all these other companies that are down. Why? Because
but OpenAI though. Right? But what if OpenAI? I think the fear is that it's just crazy to me, Godfather. It's basically people are already forecasting the death of OpenAI. Like, OpenAI is dead. How can they raise any money? They're dead. Google's the winner.
Ask Jeff Bezos, who just cut a check, right?
Is that confirmed? Is that confirmed?
Yeah, that was out this morning as well.
I saw the report from the information last night, so that's actually confirmed.
That's why the futures turned green overnight. Yeah.
So that is confirmed. So that's good news.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, man, the hysteria about OpenAI is just off the wall.
Look, the market is bouncing right here, and I think we're gonna end the day strong.
I hope so.
I think we're done with the sort of near-term volatility. I think people are pretty comfortable with the path of rate cuts. I think that this reset and expectations of, the dots only show one rate cut. I think the market's expecting two. I think the market will be right. I think there could be actually three or more, depending on, Trump's appointee. And, there's all sorts of tailwinds coming into the new year. Supplementary leverage ratio doesn't get enough talk. These things are easing bank requirements. Or lending requirements. You've got stimulus from the Fed. You've got not just reducing the size of the balance sheet. They're actually effectively doing QE here, Treasury operations. And then you've got one big beautiful bill. There's just so many tailwinds, and that Trump's just going to keep pulling levers so that they can win as many seats as possible at the midterms. So I think put this, today's, I know it's ugly, especially if you're caught in it, but you want to look beyond today and look into 2026 and the opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you on all that, especially for risk assets and small caps, 100% growth companies, all that. But I don't know about the big cap AI, if that has more room to go, because some of these charts are ugly. Like look at NVIDIA.
One of the great beneficiaries could be the small caps if this uncertainty over AI continues, because look where all the the investment dollars got concentrated the last couple of years.
100%.
In the AI trades. So to the extent that there's less money going to those names, I think it's better for the whole investing landscape. Assuming you're in quality companies that benefit on the periphery from that theme, because I still think that'll be the biggest theme in the market. But more dollars to trickle down to some of the smaller or mid-cap names. I think mid-caps are probably the best way to play these.
Yeah. But looking at the charts near term, I don't know, NVIDIA kind of looking ugly. It may want to retest that 163. Who knows? So, but yeah, I agree with you on risk assets, small caps, growthy stocks, all that is good. But man, this
big turn in Oracle here, big turn in everything right now.
Yeah, the hysteria over the death of OpenAI, I just it's like 100% consensus. I can't get over the groupthink, and I'm very biased because of my large position in OpenAI, so I refuse to believe the bear thesis because I'm locked in and I can't sell it for 2 years. So I'm just going to pretend everyone's wrong. But Anyway,
I think you'll be fine. You might have to take a valuation haircut.
well, I got in at
go
a
down round, but doesn't mean it's the death of the investment.
yeah. I hope I got in a very good 125 billion valuation. So it's not like I bought it at 500 billion. But in any case, anyway, look, we have MU earnings tonight too, and because you just gave that optimistic look, Godfather, there, I actually bought. Finally, I was looking at MU call options all day, but they're so expensive. And as you were saying that MU is touching the 50 DMA, I'm like, you know what? Between the 50 DMA and Godfather being saying buying the dip, I actually bought a few MU January calls for earnings tonight. We'll see what happens. I'm no expert, in these things, and I gave my thesis. I've been giving my thesis on MU for like a better part of a year. That I just think the need for memory is just exponentially growing because of the use cases and because how people are using AI and the memory needs of saving those photos and videos and all the text that's being generated.
It's in their pricing, right? In the last quarter, they announced pricing.
And the pricing keeps going up constantly.
Product, but I can't speak to the valuation going into this quarter.
Yeah, I know.
At it, but
I know.
We're pretty close to all-time highs, so it's.
I know.
Oftentimes, good isn't good enough, depending on positioning. So,
right.
I'm not sure you want to get ahead of an earnings report in this kind of market. That's rather fickle. But I think long term, I agree with you in terms of the drivers to both pricing and valuation.
Yeah.
Which is really the only North American way to play this, because it's SK Hynix.
Right.
In South Korea, that's the other big player.
Yeah, so I'm just in a very small size, a couple percent or something. I don't know. We'll see. Actually, we'll see. I got some common shares. I got to reduce that. I'm probably going to do like 2 to 3% common shares and like a 0.25 to 0.5% call options or something. But we'll see what happens. All right, that's that. And then Bitcoin, you obviously have to watch in terms of risk on, risk off, unfortunately, but that's just the reality. It had flirted with the 20 DMA here on some safe news. I thought the safe stuff was for crypto. I mean, for cannabis, safe banking. But I don't know. There was something about crypto that Bitcoin took off on. I'm not an expert in it. Flirted with the 20 DMA, but pulled back on, unfortunately, the reality that if you want to see good breadth and risk assets, we got to be over that 20 DMA. So that's something I'm watching closely.
The Senate Safe Crypto Act to protect crypto buyers. I don't know the details on that, but that's what came in the Discord. Look, I'm not touching Bitcoin right here personally. No,
I'm not touching Bitcoin, but I'm watching it so closely because it's most definitely impacting breadth of risk assets.
For sure.
So yeah, I'm just rooting for it, watching it, and rooting for it to go over the 20 DMA so we can have better price action in risk assets. All right. So that's most of the macro. I do want to know, I mean, you absolutely killed it on silver over the past month. I mean, your calls have been spot on. I missed it because I thought it was another false alarm after hearing about this for 30 years.
Look, I'm with you. People have been talking about a silver squeeze for forever, and but look at the chart.
Ever since I was in my dorm in 1999.
5-year chart of silver, and look at it. I mean, it's parabolic. So the squeeze is on. It's happening now, and it's happening because gold is expensive. So from an investment standpoint, and electrification, industrialization, there's still no better commodity on the planet in terms of thermal conductivity. Copper, is a close second, but. So look, industrial.
How do you fundamentally price this? Like when you stayed in the trade, I was like shocked at the conviction you had.
This isn't about.
How do you know when it's going to be a blow off top, and how do you know when to get out of this?
You just ride it until the price action tells you otherwise, and don't do it in short term options and things that you'll get shaken out, because there's going to be 10-15% pullbacks here, and most people will leave this trade. But then silver probably, goes to 100 before.
You think so? Where do you get that from? 100 based on what?
Oh, I'm just throwing a number out there. But look, all the drivers are in place here. We know, only 20 to 30% of silver is primary production, so it relies on byproduct from copper and gold mining primarily. And so there isn't an immediate supply response there. Yeah, you get some, recycling response, but farmers in India have had a tremendous growing season, and a lot of these guys are now buying silver instead of gold because gold is so expensive as a store of value. And of course, It's also the largest consumer market in terms of, you know, trinkets and bracelets and all these kinds of things. But you've got, you know, people flocking to real assets to hedge against a currency devaluation. What are all the governments doing around the world? They're trying to inflate their way out of debt, deflate their currencies, you know, to pay back money they borrowed with dollars that are worth less. And, you know, this is happening around the world. And so the only way to protect yourself is, you know, gold and silver. And, you know, I think that the sort of, you know, Bitcoin as the new digital gold is lost a little bit of its luster, you know, given that it's trading a lot more in correlation with risk assets as a whole. So, yeah, that's a primary driver, as is industrial demand. So you got a perfect storm. And then you've had, you know, years and years of structural deficit in the commodity. So it's real. You know, and the other thing is with tariffs, they didn't want to move silver out of the US to meet a lot of these contracts because they were afraid that it was going to get tariffed when it came back in again. So, you know, you've got guys that have been squeezed in here, you know, overseas that couldn't get physical. So, yeah, there's a lot of mechanics at work here. This string is trading perfectly with rates and with dollar. As long as the U.S. dollar is going lower, and it should, as long as we're in an interest rate cutting cycle, you're going to see people flee to physical assets. You know, gold and silver. Look, they're both going to go up here. I just think there's more juice because there's a real structural squeeze going on in silver. It's evident.
Yeah, that's great that you can have that fundamental conviction. I've been mostly sticking with the gold because on the chart I have my reference point of the all-time high 403.30, and I had the RSI, which is not overbought yet, just starting to enter the overbought area, but it tends to really get overbought when it gets overbought. So I think gold is heading to a new all-time high above 403. Maybe by Monday we have CPI tomorrow.
I agree with that. It's certainly headed to new all-time highs in 2026.
Yeah,
as is silver, and you know, there's people play this gold silver ratio as well. So,
all right, that's just a beautiful daily chart right now in gold. So we're looking for relative strength this morning because nothing's working. Obviously, any trades you got into this morning, they're all flopping. So where's the relative strength? One is the gold that we're talking about. Another one, man, CWAN. We've all been all over this. I know you've had crazy amount of conviction in this ever since the rumors came out from Bloomberg back on November 12th. It's been 5 weeks in terms of a brewing buyout. There has been some news recently. Starboard took a 5% position and trying to get the company to optimize the sale price. Did they mention a number? Did they say they want to sell for at least?
No, they didn't. But look, you know, the silver lining today is you get an opportunity to see what doesn't go down with the market, and things that don't go down with the market are telling you something. And C1 is a classic example. Look, this is a rule of 50 company. It's sticky software. It's an AI beneficiary. It's been beaten down by the sort of existential threat to software that plagued all of these software names in 2025 and 2024 with the advent of AI. And it's clear that there's real value here. They are actually a beneficiary. If you look at their software stack, you'll see this layering of AI all the way through it. This is back office software, by the way, for the finance industry. People don't know this company. So the same players that took it public are now looking to take it private again. Who knows?
Oh, they're the same. They're the same players. I didn't realize.
Yeah, it's the same players. And then you've got Thoma Bravo that's been rumored to have thrown in a bid there as well. So there's 3 players at the table already. You can be sure that Starboard's trying to get more players to the table. You know my thought on this. I completely agree. I did an independent analysis with the average of the analyst estimates on takeover valuation here. It's you know, it's in the low 30s. But even if it doesn't happen, you take your takeover premium out of there, which is sort of like 15 to 20% on fundamental, and you still end up with a fundamental value that's in the $26, $27 range. So I see it as asymmetric down here at these levels. And I think a deal will get done. As you know, I posted my position in the Discord.
I mean, there's already a bid in. I guess it just
I got a massive call position in March 2020 2250s. Because I don't know what the timing is going to be. And with Starboard, they're pushing for a more fulsome process. You can be sure they're going to insist that management doesn't rush here. So you were going into the holidays now. I think that makes even the January calls, potentially too risky. But who knows? A deal could come anytime.
So there's a couple clues in here that I want to point out in the chart and in some options activity. So first of all, we're over the 200 DMA, which is great in terms of technical breakout. But I've been watching how CWAN moves intraday. And over the past week of market volatility, CWN was definitely impacted intraday by IWM QQQ SPY. They were linked to the HIP intraday with the algos or whatever. That is not happening today. Something changed today. So to me, that means there are extra buyers in the market here that are overwhelming the algos. And when you tie it with this, another clue, weekly 2250 call options. Check this out. The weekly 2250 call option had tremendous volume 2 days ago, December 15th. Massive. I think it was 7,000 contracts out of nowhere. Okay. Put those two together, and that's some smoke there for you, combined with all the news from Bloomberg earlier and Starboard coming in last week. I'm not saying that, I know that based on the timing and how long these things take, you're looking for a buyout later on, but I'm thinking this could be positioning for a rumor or something that drops this week. Where my list goes. So that's what I'm thinking. Maybe a buyout, you never know. But you don't spend that much money in weekly call options unless you know something, in my opinion. And now we're seeing
but that's only like a couple $100,000 or something, right?
Yeah,
you like 40 or 50 cents or something.
7,000 at 50 cents or so.
So look, I agree with you. The stock is telling you something. I just think give yourself a little bit of room.
Like 350,000 in weeklies.
Yeah, I think that that's gambling. Unless they know something. And
I mean, it's not that's not a retail gamble. I don't think. Could it be? I don't know.
It could be. Hopefully they know something.
Yeah, take that, but combined with this price action, something did change today with the price action. So I am hoping that I am mostly in. I'm not as far out as you, I don't think. Let me see. I have March and January 16th. I'm in March and January 16th, but we'll see. Hopefully, at least we get another update from Bloomberg with some rumor or something. All right, so there's that relative strength. Some relative strength. Oh man, this relative strength in Netflix is falling apart. Thank God I sold half of my calls near the top, but now my other calls are getting killed. So with Paramount are pulling or Rhett, what was the details on this one? It's not Paramount pulling their bid. It's just Jared Kushner or something. We're talking about this morning.
Yeah, we're talking about it this morning. I think they're saying they want to reject that offer.
Yeah, Warner Brothers wants to reject the Paramount offer, but yeah, I'm not clear on the relationship between Jared Kushner.
He like dropped out of the deal or something.
Is he like he must be like an outside financier, not really like part of Paramount.
Yeah, he was part of the bid with Larry's son.
Yeah, with Larry's son. So in any case, yeah, so he dropped out. Anyway, well, we had the right call in the morning. It's just everything's falling apart. So now you're left. I was going to say we got relative strength in Netflix and C1 and gold, but now we just have it in CWN. Here's a failed trade from this morning. I didn't sell yet. I'm going to have to, unfortunately, CGEN. When we're wrong, we'll own up to it here. The biotech company did a licensing deal with AstraZeneca, get $65 million cash up front on $140 million market cap. I did some simple math on that. I saw the chart was not anticipating it. I thought this thing would trade to 2+. It didn't. And the obvious reason it doesn't when these things happen is because they're just weighing getting cash up front versus losing cash long term and then saying, okay, now you got like 3 years of runway, but you're just going to burn through it. That's the bear thesis always, but you just never know with these biotechs unless you're super, super, super close to the story, how the investor base will interpret that news.
There's a lot of people underwater in a name like that, so there are a lot of people that take
selling
advantage of a green day when they haven't had one for
that. That's right, and that's another thing as we enter the seasonality and the January effect. You see catalysts getting sold off on stocks that have been underwater in 2025. That's because of tax loss selling. So that's another thing you got to consider when trying these, smaller names or names that have just not done well for the year. It's tough to play catalysts right now because of the tax loss selling pressure, and we're gonna continue seeing tax loss selling pressure for another week. I think the zenith of that will be middle of next week. That'll abate, and then we start seeing some relief in those names. So unfortunately, that didn't work. Tesla worked beautifully, but very hard to play intraday. 2 days ago, gave you a prediction. We'll see a new all-time high on all the robotaxi news out of Austin, Texas, and targets hit, but difficult to play, right? Unfortunately, unless you have bowls of steel. I mean, the intraday moves on Tesla are just so volatile; it makes it very hard. But held on to my retirement account shares at least. But I mean, that's kind of all I have on my radar in terms of the relative strength.
BRZE Braze, which is another software company that fits in this basket along with Path, and the names that were like C1 beaten down in 2024 and 2025 because people feared that AI was going to eat all of the software markets. And these are names that are benefiting from AI. And I think that this is where the dollars that were playing AI hardware capex, some of them are still going to stay there because that trade is not done. But people are starting to look to who benefits now from AI. And
it looks like they got a big initiation this morning from BTIG with a $45 price target, which may have to do with
so
that.
They recently had a quarter. This is the company that automates your customer interaction. Manages your email campaigns. And goes deeper than that in the funnel, across all platforms, WhatsApp, texting, all the rest of it. This is the thing that sends you a message saying, oh, you've got something in your basket that you haven't checked out. Here's 3 other things that look like that. Maybe you want to look at those kinds of things. So they do all of that. Huge beneficiary of AI. They're the market leader. Path is another one, robotic process automation that's now being augmented by agentic AI. These are names that are going to be the huge beneficiaries of AI in 2026.
Nice pullback in Path, by the way. If you missed that, the earnings reaction.
I've been adding to it materially here, and we'll continue to add to it on weakness throughout 2026. I think it'll be one of the biggest winners of the year. Braze is reasonably valued as well. I mean, these are software companies that used to trade at double-digit, EV to sales multiples that are now trading 3, 4, 5 times.
Nice,
huge bargains because these are still, these are SaaS companies. These are 30% EBITDA potential companies, and these are guys with huge ARRs and great net retention as well. So fabulous businesses buying at a discount. And the other name that I've been loading up on today on the weakness is
breaking up, rubber banding. You lost your connection.
Yeah, we lost him.
Okay, well, we wait for him.
Well, while he comes back, a name that I'm watching is going to be ASTS. It's bouncing here off the 20-day moving average on the daily chart. We have some news coming up in the near-term future with this name, especially with the launch date. They haven't set a date yet as of this morning. I haven't checked. But as of last night, I haven't seen.
They should be within today or tomorrow or so. They're gonna announce the launch date.
Oh, he's back. We'll let him
Godfather is back. I forgot where you were. BRZE. Were you finishing up the thoughts on BRZE?
I was rattling on about AMPX being the biggest quality company on sale. It's underperforming the entire battery group. It's by far the best company in the battery group. We have the leading power to weight in the battery technology, which is obviously important for anything aviation, eVTOL, drones, satellites. Obviously more and more infrastructure is going into space. They need batteries that need to recharge through solar and all the rest of it. Cycle times, again, power to weight ratio wins. This is blockbuster technology out of Stanford. This deserves to be a $16 to $20 company. And yeah, you can buy the warrants, which are SPAC warrants, 11.5 strikes. Right now they're on sale at like $3.50. And these things, obviously, if the stock goes to that kind of range, these things will go to $10. So
I bought some of those in your suggestion, actually, in my retirement account. Another one sticking out here, relative strength, which I'm really keen on. January effect, the little preview. We'll pick 10 stocks for the January effect pick in our Discord. One of them will likely be ASPI. This thing, nice day, moving above the 20 DMA. First quarter, you may get a big spinoff of a nuclear uranium company. And that could unlock $10 of value a share, just the spin-off IPO, which I think is coming Q1. So look at
And
that.
there's other
relative
technologies
today.
there as well, and isotopes as well as silicon.
Yeah, and nice move over the 20 DMA. So added a little bit more to that today. All right,
Tremendously undervalued in my opinion down here at $6.
awesome. Ryan, if you're there in the back, if you want to jump on,
Bro, I'm always here.
yeah, awesome.
I am always here.
I wanted you to be here because we got a special announcement from Godfather Knows. Let's go for it.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, I'm going to take a little sabbatical here. I've kind of been grounded due to a personal matter for the last 3 years. I haven't stepped foot on an airplane, and my passion is the markets, but my other passion is to travel, and the wanderlust has gotten the best of me, and now it's I'm finally unleashed to do so. So I'm going to take advantage of the next 8 to 10 weeks and do a little sojourn around South America, recharge. I'm trying to tune out. We'll see how successful I am at that. It all depends on what sort of connectivity I find and what sort of market action there is, but I'll be focusing on the long-term side of the portfolio and less on the day-to-day just for a few months while I recharge and get reinvigorated.
Well, first of all, Godfather, congratulations. I think we all would do better with some time off. And if traveling is a life passion, I mean, you only get one of these lives, so live it up. So I would say congratulations, number one.
Last time I did it, I was 26, and now I'm 56. So, call it a midlife crisis, call it what you will.
I tell you what, you don't look 56, that's for sure. Here's the other thing I'll say. One of the things that we've been discussing in our happy hour program, which is a Benzinga Pro subscriber Zoom call that we do every day, we've talked about a possible theme of a resurgence from Latin America. And so if you're going to spend the next however many weeks down there, I hope you don't tune out too much. Come back with the goods for us. Let us know what you saw down there, what businesses you think are kind of turning it around down there, and where there might be some plays, because that's something that we're kind of looking into for 2026. This is really good timing, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I will always have my ear to the ground on those sorts of things, and I'm super excited about that.
Awesome. Yeah. And I do want to mention, hopefully, Ryan, maybe we'll have Laptop Travel join us for while he's gone. If not, I'll make Rhett talk more, and we'll have some fun. But
we want the country boy talking more. That'll work for us. No problem. Let me ask you.
Hey, today's Christmas spirit, though.
Hey, dude, you will always get bonus points for me for a Christmas sweater. That is for damn sure. Let me ask you, does this throw a monkey wrench into you guys wanting to come on for an hour instead of a half hour like you floated last week?
Oh, if you need us for an hour, dude, I can talk for hours. So we can talk about that.
I'm glad you said it because I wasn't going to. Just kidding. But what I actually think
the show is an hour when I come back, because I would love to have an hour.
I actually think we might be able to. I don't want to make any promises here, but I do kind of want to float it out there that, hey, we might be able to help you out with that. And as long as you and Rhett don't mind, maybe I can join you for some of those. That'd be awesome. We'll hold the fort down. We'll have a nice little surprise for Godfather when he comes back.
That'll be great. And looks like I want to give Godfather another support. Listen, if you guys want to join our Discord, all right, I'm going to tell you today specifically, if you want to join our Discord, go to Godfather's handle at smantle on X and join through that link today. Even though it's not going to be around the Discord for the next couple months too much, this way he's going to get some credit and some extra spending money while he's away. So really appreciate it if you join through his handle today. If you were thinking about joining our Discord, now's a great time to do it. And we have a great team of analysts. We got Laptop Travel there as well. And from time to time, maybe we'll hear from Godfather while he's away. But don't count it until he's back.
Okay. Well,
I won't be going completely dark, but we'll be going dark gray.
Okay. That sounds good. Enjoy the time off. I totally support it. So we'll definitely, and Ben, I'll have, Aaron and I will talk about that. We'll get with you and see what we can do about extending that. Looks like there's some appetite for that. So good deal.
Great.
So
Good deal. Godfather, the only thing I'll leave you with here.
Mantle. Oh, sorry, cut you off, Ryan.
It's okay. The only thing I'll leave you with here is that if you're going to go on a sabbatical like this, it is a requirement that you take and share some really cool pictures with people when you get back. No pressure.
Yeah, I'll throw a few things on X for sure.
Okay. Sounds good. You guys, really good stuff here today. Did you guys, what are we doing next week?
next week is Christmas Eve Day, right?
It's Christmas Eve next week, and the market is open for a half day. I don't know if
Ends
we've
at
discussed this or
1.
not.
I'll be around. I could do the
Okay.
show. I mean, well, whoever comes will come. We'll figure it out.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll figure it out. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, if I don't see you, enjoy your holidays, all of you. Otherwise, we'll catch you next week, and we'll catch you when you get back.
All right.
Sounds
Take care.
good. Take care, Ryan.
All right, really good
Bye-bye.
stuff there. Ben, Red, and the Godfather, who's going to be globe-trotting. The globe-trotting Godfather. That is not easy for me to say, but really good stuff. And good stuff from the Story Trading Group. We'll see what we can do about, like I said, we're going to have some changes to the show and the programming for 2026. Maybe we can give a little extended spot there to Story Trading. Those guys do really good work. So, okay, really good stuff here, folks. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thanks for all of your participation, both in this show and in the Story Trading show. We are done here for today. We will be back again tomorrow. You know it. It is a risk-off day, and boy, it looks like we are returning to the lows right as we sign off here. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. We'll see